This week on Getting Deep, we had Grazer, the naked ghost hunter, on. And we spoke everything to do with ghosts, aliens, and hauntings, and all sorts of little bits and pieces like that, magic and all sorts. We did have a little bit of an experience on here. We got some tools out. You can see these little cat balls. What was this one called again?
That's the K2 meter.
The K2 meter. As soon as I point it, makes a little flash.
Yep.
And some other sound ones.
Yeah, we got the EVP, the voice recorder, and we had the SB7 spirit box as well that we touched on as well.
So we had these on while we were on, but this one that we've got under Noob's Zabot wasn't in camera every time it went off. So we moved it to the sword, and then it didn't make any flashes whatsoever, and it was going all the way up to the red. So if we did get them on camera, I don't know if I did properly, I'll put them in the pod, but you'll hear us reacting to it because I was genuinely shooting a little bit of a brick.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of activity there for a while, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was, and it seemed to correlate with whenever I was saying some weird shit.
And we did debunk possible causes to trigger it as well, because there are known causes.
Yes.
But yeah, so we're a bit miffed as to what was happening exactly.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out what it could have been in this room that was setting it off.
I think we've had a little friend here tonight.
Just had someone that follows me around and fucks with me every now and then. My tinnitus. It was just my tinnitus. My tinnitus was setting off this thing.
There is actually a ghost in this room. I can verify that 100%.
What?
Do you want evidence?
Yes, I do. All right. This is in the intro now, so we're going to keep this going for a bit.
There you go.
Nice. Very nice.
It's even got the bum hanging out, the naked ghost hunter bum. That was made for me by someone I did an investigation with.
That is hilarious. That's gold.
But there is a ghost in here.
Perfect. All right, get into it.
Verified
ghost. Oh, and a quick word from our sponsor, Ian Knight Real Estate Team. If you think your house is haunted and you think it's time to sell, contact Ian Knight Real Estate Team. You'll see his little details here, and the information will be in the description. They'll get rid of that house so fast and get the money in your bank, you'll be stoked. Give people a bit of an intro on what you do.
Sure.
Right? So just so they know, because I said naked ghost hunter, and the first thing that came to my brain was that you go and hunt ghosts naked.
Yes,
and then I went on the channel and was like, he's not naked.
No, that's right.
So what inspired the name Naked Ghost Hunter?
There's probably a couple of things. So the first one is I used to be in a paranormal group, let's say. So there were 3 of us. And it was fun, and I learnt a lot, and it was great, and I made some good friends. But I just wanted to do things differently. So I wanted it to be a bit more raw, if you like.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just I didn't want to be presenting any evidence that could in any way be sort of trumped up or made up in any way. So I just wanted it to be quite raw. So when I film, I don't really edit a huge amount, and I certainly don't edit in a way to send a particular story. It is, I capture what I capture on the night. So that was part of it.
Yeah.
And I guess the cheeky part of it is as well, bit of a prankster, and have been known to drop the drawers, in public places on many occasions, and it's been well photographed and published. So it kind of blends into my personality as well.
Yeah. So there is bits of you being naked in it.
Yes, but probably not appropriate for YouTube, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to stay on there.
Just when you turn to the OnlyFans side of things.
Exactly. Yeah. And the weird funny thing is, on my Facebook page, when you can look at the demographic of your followers, 70% of my followers are females between the age of 35 and 55. So
interesting.
I don't know if the naked ghost hunter has had any sort of effect on that, but maybe I'm not sure.
That just happens to be what they've been attracted to.
Yeah, I've actually had a really, I'm going to say, pretty rude message from a bloke, hit my DMs and said, "I do not appreciate lewd Casper. You need to delete your profile now."
Oh man,
that really made my day. That was
that's quite hilarious.
That was awesome.
I don't appreciate lewd Casper.
Yeah, and he gave me fodder. That became a post on my Facebook page, and people loved it. Yeah,
just the fact that someone's like, "Oh, you're offending me because Casper's got a bum." Fuck off.
I know, right? So, and one of my friends actually wrote something like, "I want to delete your face," back to him, kind of thing. So, yeah.
It surprises me how much people think they matter.
I know.
Like, you must delete this because of me. It's like, bro, just block me.
Yeah.
If you don't like what I'm doing, you can block me. That's how the internet works, man.
I know. And I found out he'd been trolling a couple of other paranormal investigators.
Oh, so he was probably just a dick.
Probably.
Yeah. And he's just like, this is my angle to piss you off.
Yeah, but it was like, thanks for the lols. Because it was funny, like I thought it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah.
So what led you down the path of hunting ghosts?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been a curiosity, I guess, like from childhood.
Yeah.
So mum and dad, they would take us on family holidays within Western Australia mostly, like road trips. And we used to go to some pretty cool historic places in WA as well. And I remember on those trips, they and my sister and I had experiences, and it really got me quite intrigued about it. And actually, I went down the UFO path originally.
Okay.
Like, I used to hire every single book available from the school library and the local library and read about UFOs. But really, my interest has been more paranormal, just like, what are these experiences? How do you explain them, I guess?
Yeah. So how much, this is good that you started off with UFOs, you've gone to ghosts, because this is going to line up with a lot of what I think.
Okay, cool.
What is it that you do think that, a ghost is? What's kind of you figured out so far that you think it is?
Yeah, so I think a lot of what I've experienced is like residual energy, if you've ever heard of that.
Yes.
So there's a lot of theories about how that happens. So
Like a scar in space-time.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's like a video loop. It's like an imprint from, time. And it's like a video loop that just plays over and over and over. And I've done a lot of reading on the topic as well, particularly because what I've noticed, and a lot of paranormal investigators have noticed, is residual energy tends to happen in places where there's like a water source of some sort. So it could be a flowing river.
Really?
Yeah, it could be a flowing river, or it could be
Like a flowing river underground kind of thing?
well, not only underground, but even close by to a location where there may be reports of these hauntings. But also residual energy within things like limestone brickwork and that type of thing as well, being quite porous, and it holds a lot of moisture.
A lot of moisture, yeah.
Yeah, so I've done a lot of reading about that, and it sort of lines up with where I've had experiences of what I'd call residual energy.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
So okay, that's pretty interesting. The water seems to be like a flowing water.
Yes.
Seems to be
Not even just
like 'cause
flowing
limestone's
water,
not flowing, is it?
but yeah, just water in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you have places like a mental hospital
Yes.
somewhere that's just filled with bad experiences,
Yes.
do they typically have like some kind of flowing water, do you find, or is it just like that's like an exception because it's...
I think that's an exception.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think straight away an example in the US, which is, it's called Waverley Sanatorium. And it's reputed as being one of the most haunted, or at least one of those locations where so much evidence has been captured. To my knowledge, it's not near a water source, but it could be as well. So,
Yeah.
and they also talk about ley lines as well, underground. I don't know if you've heard of those either.
I've heard of them. I haven't looked into them a lot, but
Okay.
I have heard of them.
Yeah, so particularly in the US and the UK, they sort of focus on that a fair bit. So, it's basically like magnetic lines underneath the ground. Sometimes they intersect, which, can create more energy as well. So, yeah, do they hold the energy, or are they allowing spirits to feed off that so they can kind of materialize in some way or another? So there's so many different theories around it. Yeah.
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 So when you're saying it's like they're stuck in a loop, do you find that like it's just they're like on a repeat from an event in their life?
Yeah.
That's kind of what you...
And quite often it's reported, for example, staircases are a very common location for residual hauntings. And it's thought that repeated activity of going up and down stairs by someone for many years in a location, that's like forced an imprint basically of that.
Okay.
And, you hear things of like...
It's like stuck in a torturous death loop.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, so with residual hauntings, you couldn't really say that it's a spirit that's there and it's kind of stuck there. It's more like this memory or imprint that just gets replayed over time.
Ah, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes plenty of sense. So it's not even that they're stuck there. It's just that something they've done has been stuck there.
Yeah, as far as residual hauntings go.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess hence the term residual, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of what's left behind after they've gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that they're both good and bad? Like it's not always someone that's had something bad to them, or is
Sure.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, because, if you think about really traumatic events that may have happened in a location, let's say a murder or a suicide or something like that, that seems to have like a deeper impact, I guess. So that can imprint more easily if it's something related to something quite horrific, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, why jails and prisons, that are 200-300 years old, not so much in Australia because our history's not that long, but overseas at least. There's a lot of kind of evidence around that as well. Things that happen,
Do you ever find like younger kind of ghosts or like anything to do with that? Something that's like something could happen from like 2005 or some shit.
Yeah.
Like you do?
Yeah. So probably not personally myself, but others have. And I know of personal accounts even in Perth actually, where there are hauntings, let's say, from someone that was alive, 5 or 10 years ago. So
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. How do they kind of differentiate between? Is it just because like what they see or what they hear or what?
Yeah. So one that I know of, not far from here actually, where you are, is it's like a full-bodied apparition.
Really?
Of a homeless guy who was, I think, in his late teens, early 20s, so he's quite young. He was actually murdered, and he's been seen at this property many times. So, and that, I think it was like 10 years ago, something.
What suburb is that, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know if it's in Rockingham itself, but it's definitely in this neck of the woods, Yep.
Jeez.
And I actually been invited to go and investigate that.
Is it in Hillman by any chance?
I don't think so.
Oh, because I do remember someone talking about a house in Hillman that was haunted.
Okay.
And Hillman was a pretty dodgy suburb, so
Yeah, right.
I wonder if that could be what it was.
I don't think hauntings discriminate between suburbs, to be honest.
No, I suppose if something bad happens, something bad happens.
Yeah. Or not even necessarily something bad. Could be something really good, like a long period of time that someone was really happy living in their home and maybe died there, then that residual energy is still present.
Just stays there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it, I guess. When you were younger, you said you had a couple of experiences. Were they good? Were they bad? What was kind of the...
So I wouldn't call them bad.
Okay.
I've never actually been fearful of kind of the unknown, the paranormal area. I just haven't been scared of it. So, which is kind of a good thing as an investigator, because you may have seen the video where I went to the Swan View Tunnel.
Yes.
And I went out there solo. And I was
been there during the fucking day.
Yeah.
You go in that tunnel, it's fucking creepy.
It's heavy, isn't it?
Like you walking through the center of it, you feel shit around you.
Well, can you imagine going there at night
alone?
And in relative darkness.
Yeah.
Like, I had some lighting with me, and weirdly the main light I was using right in the center of the tunnel just died well ahead of when it was supposed to, kind of thing. So
great.
Yeah, I had other light sources to see my way at least, but yeah, it's a bit disconcerting.
Even like during the day, the center of that tunnel is fucking dark.
It is very, You really do almost need a flashlight.
Yeah.
To see your way through.
Like I kind of didn't want to. I was like, I'm going to do this, but it does get very, like there's a dot of where you're walking.
There is, yeah. From one end to the other, it's pretty much a dot of light during the day.
Yeah.
So,
which is nuts.
Yeah, I guess I am digressing from your question about my experiences when I was younger, but it's also one of those places where I know there's been like satanic rituals carried out there as well.
Yeah.
So when I went there solo, because I've been there many times, but only ever investigated it once, and it was solo, I was more concerned about the sort of people I might run into out there.
Okay.
Like being alone, you just don't know,
Yeah.
Could be crackheads out there, or
I was be surprised if crackheads are hanging out in that tunnel. Like that fucking, I swear they'd get scared. If they're hearing voices, they're definitely going to be doubling up.
There's a few satanic markings in the culverts and stuff there.
Yeah.
But sometimes people do that just because it
fucks with people.
They think it's cool and fucks with people. But yeah.
So when it comes to like ghosts, demons, satanic stuff, God and religion, all that kind of stuff, what is kind of your stance? Because I I've heard different versions from different people.
Yep.
Some people are like, if you believe in ghosts, you don't believe in God, which I was like, that kind of doesn't make any sense, because I think if you believe in like demons, you have to believe in God. You can't, vice versa.
Yeah.
If one exists, the other has to. You can't have one without the other, kind of thing. So what's kind of your stance on that?
Yeah, so I'm one of those people, I'm not religious at all.
Yep.
I don't not believe in a higher power, put it that way.
Okay, yeah.
But I can't say, because I have no evidence,
Yeah.
to say what that higher power might be.
Yeah.
As far as people, being, let's say, Christians or Catholics or Jehovah's Witness or whatever they might be, look, I fully accept everyone's beliefs and their faith if that's what helps them through life and gives them this sense of, once I die, I'll be in a safe, happy place. Go for it.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to it at all. I don't believe in the Bible, for example. I don't pray to God. I don't go to church, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I do think that we definitely have like a soul, and we all have a spirit about us, and what you believe in is totally up to you. But yeah, I'm definitely not someone that believes in religion as such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, controversially, I've often said that, religion and the Bible is the biggest lie ever told to man and believed. That's just my personal thoughts. And that can be obviously quite polarizing, but, that's fine.
Opinions are opinions.
Yeah, I mean, just like I accept other people that have certain beliefs and faith, then I kind of expect the same in return.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
There is thousands of religions on earth.
Yeah.
If you're like, no, mine's correct and you're a dickhead,
That's right.
it's pretty ignorant.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it. As far as, we're all made of energy, right? So whatever created that energy or where the energy goes after we leave this life as living beings, that's what we don't know about. And I guess that's part of my curiosity with paranormal as well, is, what happens after death? I actually don't know. But no one does, right? So
And this is kind of your way of trying to figure out and investigate in towards what that is.
a little bit. I don't have a curiosity about what's going to happen to me once I die. I don't really care. I pretty much think, my body will rot and my spirit or soul somehow survives. How that happens or where or what that looks like, I have no clue whatsoever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, as a paranormal investigator, I'm not here to convince people that are non-believers either.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm about. I do it for my own enjoyment, my own curiosity, and I guess linking up with like-minded people that are also curious too.
Yeah.
And
I think trying to convince people of what you're looking for is a waste of effort,
Oh yeah.
because you can just convince yourself while you're looking. You're looking for stuff. I want to find it. You're searching.
Yeah.
If you find answers, you can show them.
Yeah.
If people like it or not,
That's right.
that's their problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people say to me, I'm just a pure skeptic.
Yeah.
And I say, that's great, because do you know what skeptic actually means? And they go, yeah, it means that I just don't believe in it. I said, no, that's actually not the meaning of skeptic.
That means you're actually going to investigate enough to try and pull apart and figure it out.
Yeah, it means you're actually open-minded to something. So, yeah, that sort of catches them out straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
They're like, I'm lazy. That's what they're actually saying. I don't care. I'm lazy. That's cool. You don't have to investigate things you don't want to.
That's it. And I've got mates that, absolutely pull the piss out of me as well.
Yeah.
And, I can have a giggle with them about it too. Because they're like, yeah, did you take some pictures of ghosts on the weekend? Well, no, I didn't. I go, well, they don't exist then, do they? Yeah. So, yeah, but, yeah, you have a bit of fun with it.
So when it comes to like ghosts, do you subscribe to the idea like poltergeists, demons kind of things exist as well? Or is it purely just ghosts from your kind of experience?
So on my Facebook page earlier on when I started last year, my own project, I actually did cover off those different types of hauntings, right? So poltergeist is a good one. And there's a lot of theories behind poltergeist activity. And I think the most popular theory now is that those happenings, like things moving in a home in an aggressive way, they can actually, it is believed that that can be brought on by someone living in the house that's going through some sort of emotional trauma.
Really, kind of like the Force.
Yeah, a little bit like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But subconsciously, right?
Yeah.
And the research suggests that the category of person, if you like, is pubescent teenage girls.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a lot of correlation between poltergeist type activity and girls making their way into womanhood. So,
Really?
and it's just hormones and puberty and all that sort of stuff, and it can summons that. But it's not just limited to kind of that group of people. It can be beyond that as well.
But there's a bit of a correlation where
There is a strong correlation with poltergeist activity. Yeah.
You know, it's funny to think that, because I think when you look at all the movies that have been depicted, that's where they've all linked up to as well. It's always like a weak teenage girl that's being haunted by poltergeists. All the ones I can think of anyway, and I've watched quite a lot of horror movies.
Yeah. And look, to be honest,
which is interesting to think that they kind of link that to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, like Hollywood obviously has shaped our ideas about what paranormal activity is too, right? So, and that's kind of, we believe that, I guess. And we sort of subscribe to it almost subconsciously.
Oh, definitely. There's definitely a degree of that.
Yeah.
So have you had any experiences that have been negative when it comes to ghosts?
Yes, I've had a couple. So one was over 10 years ago. I was actually staying at a place. It was on a farm property. It was sort of between Dunsborough and Yallingup, but inland a bit. I won't name the place.
Yeah.
They may not get any bookings.
Okay, fair enough.
But there was like 3 or 4 standalone places on this property, all spread out. And from the moment I arrived there, I was like booked in for a few days. The moment I arrived there, I just had that vibe, that uneasy feeling. It's like, I kind of regret booking here. It was actually a beautiful place. The view was nice. It was like,
Oh, was it just not for ghost hunting, just
no,
for
it was
being
just
there?
a weekend away, basically.
Okay, yeah.
So, I was trying to chill out, and just like first night, and this is totally unlike me, I did not sleep at all. Like I just felt like there was something present and I was being watched constantly. So first night, got through that, and it's like, when the sun's rising and you're like, oh, thank fuck. It was kind of like that feeling.
I've literally stayed awake in bed till the sun came up before, thinking that I could see something.
There you go.
And just like laying there going, fuck you.
Yeah, and it's quite debilitating.
It sucks.
And it really fucks with your head too.
I was a lot younger. I was a kid when most of that stuff happened.
Okay.
But yeah. And then you have to try and pick apart what you were seeing.
Yeah.
But I've currently learned that the dark and your eyes can play tricks very easily.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's so much that people claim they see that they probably actually didn't,
Well, your mind is just insane tool.
Yeah,
to play with you.
Powerful.
There's a you know what scrying is?
Yes.
So where I had an experience when I was in year 7.
Okay.
I was at school camp and I wasn't sleeping, and I thought I'd seen fucking the dude from Scream out in one of the fucking windows. So I was shitting bricks.
Yeah.
In my head I was like, but I'd watched so many horror movies and shit as a kid. I probably it was my own paranoia fucking with me.
Yeah, probably.
But I was awake and I was staring at my friend's face because I don't know why, but his face started changing.
Wow.
And it started changing to like different animal heads.
Yeah.
And I was freaking the fuck out. And I was just in my bed, frozen, just like, what the fuck? Like giraffes and elephants. And years later, I eventually found out that's a thing that happens. You can do it in a mirror by yourself.
You can.
So if you stare into a mirror with a low light, like a candle or something,
Yep.
your vision actually makes your own face transform. And people go, sometimes we use that for like scrying, where they look over to kind of see different visions and whatnot.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, some of the locations, mostly overseas, a lot of them have scrying rooms. So there'd be almost like a closet with a chair and a mirror, and you can sit there and go for your life.
It's fucking odd.
I've actually never done it.
I've done it more than once. I do all sorts of weird experiments on myself to test, like, is this, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
Like one that I've got a joke about it called the Gansfeld effect, which is where it's pretty much, you deprive yourself of all senses so that you start hallucinating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Similar thing, but the low light, staring at your own face in a mirror is fucking odd. I recommend anyone listening, if you want to fuck yourself up, do that, and you'll be like, why am I doing this to myself?
I've actually done something similar on an aeroplane that I read about. So I used to fly a lot for work, right? So noise cancelling headphones, the mask on and all that sort of stuff. And you really sort of tune out of everything that's happening around you. And you imagine yourself in the aeroplane. It might be the aeroplane you're in, like a large passenger aircraft or a stunt plane, let's say. And you can actually imagine yourself doing like a barrel roll or a loop. And if you give it enough time and focus enough, you'll actually get the full sensation of doing that.
Yeah.
I've tried it a few times and it's quite freaky.
Yeah, you feel the gravity of yourself moving around. You're like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
So getting back to this place I was staying at, night 2 came around, and as kind of like dusk came, I was like already quite anxious. I'm like, fuck, gonna have to go through another night of that kind of thing. And I was already then sleep deprived, which makes things worse too, right?
Yep, that helps with hallucinations.
Oh, big time. I didn't see anything the whole time. But so night 2, I got a little bit more sleep, but not much. And the place was like, had a lot of glass windows, so you could take advantage of the view, right? But I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that it was so dark outside and you had light inside, and I had this feeling of being watched. So I started like getting the bedding and stuff and like covering some windows where the bed was.
I know that feeling too.
Yeah. Anyway, night 3 came round. I got back there sort of after dark, and like the vibe had intensified for me to the point where I made a snap decision. I'm going to pack my shit and I'm going to leave here because there is no way in hell I can stay here another night. So I got all my belongings together, had the back of the car open, putting kind of my case in and all that sort of stuff, closed the back of the car, and I was walking around to the driver's door, and in my right ear, clear as anything, was like a very deep animal growl, like it was right there. I've got actually goosebumps right now telling it, and it was just this deep, like in my ear, and it absolutely scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And it was like absolute confirmation that I was leaving because I should, and there was definitely something there that was bothering me the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that this stuff happens more since you've started investigating things?
That is a really good question. So you do become... So that was before I was doing investigating.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really even thinking actively about paranormal at that time. But the more you do investigations, I feel the more sensitive you become to it.
Yeah.
And I also know that going into an investigation, if your frame of mind isn't kind of right, that can be, I'm just going to say dangerous based on experience, because what happened to me at a location is... I would call it an attachment. So, you know, I had things in my mind. It was a negative state of mind, I guess. During the night, I felt bad at times, like really not myself. I'm quite chatty normally. I really had nothing to say to the other people I was with investigating. I was super quiet. But it wasn't until I kind of left and I returned to my normal life, then things started to happen for me that was just unexplainable.
So you feel like you had something follow you and kind of...
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I can almost attribute it, and I've spoken about it on my channel actually, attribute it to this particular jail cell that I spent time in alone in the dark. And this particular jail cell, it was at Newcastle Jail in 2J. It was used only for the incarceration of Indigenous people.
Okay.
At the time.
Yeah.
And
fire, mate.
yeah. And so I felt it was from there, and my health deteriorated very quickly over a short period of time. And I remember I had a business trip to Melbourne to do, sort of in the middle of all this, and I was just not with it at all. Like, I couldn't function. It was hard to focus on what I was doing there. I didn't sleep at night. And then I had like actual physical effects as well. So I trotted myself off to the doctor, I think 3 times, had lots of tests, blood, urine, everything. And they're just like, there's absolutely, for the symptoms that you've got, there's absolutely no reason why you have them at all. So, yeah, I was getting quite desperate. And I was actually, I was taking a walk around Hillary's Marina. This is about the 3rd week of feeling this. And people might know it, but there's this like big crystal shop there. You know, they sell all that stuff. And I went in there to buy some sage. So, you know, people said, you know, burn some sage. Smudge, all that sort of stuff. I walked in and the lady working there instantly came to me and she said, "You've got some stuff going on." I said, "Okay, tell me more." Didn't like preempt her or give her any clues. And she said, "You've got a negative attachment to, an entity of some sort, and you need some help kind of thing. I'm like, oh, weird. This is before I even sort of asked where the sage was or anything. I was just having a browse.
You were just in there.
Yeah. So I just let her do and say what she wanted, and then she performed this almost ritual on me with these big long salt crystal things, and I'm standing there thinking, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm like, this must look ridiculous to people walking into the shop. But I just thought, I'm so desperate, I'll just let this go. Bought the sage, and almost instantly, even when I walked out of that shop, I felt different. Like
Really?
I felt like lighter is, how people kind of describe it, but I did. And when she was performing this, it's almost like this feeling of energy like disappeared through the top of my skull. It was like, it was really
left, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I sort of monitored myself the next couple of days, and I just returned to my normal self. Everything became normal again. Even my persona was different. So I'm like a really friendly, approachable person. I didn't really have a nice thing to say about anyone. I was argumentative, irritable, all sorts of things. It's just not my personality at all.
Yeah.
So, and I have been back there since and investigated. But with advice, I've sort of, let's say, protected myself a bit more going into that situation. And I think if in the future, if I was ever in a negative frame of mind like that, I'd probably just pull the pin. I just go, I'm not going to do it tonight.
So do you kind of think like if you go in there with like you've got some kind of stress, there's some kind of negative attitude going on, it's easier for a ghost to attach itself to you that is doing bad shit?
That's my personal experience. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it kind of lines up with things that I've watched as well. Not, Hollywood movies, but documentaries about this type of thing.
Yeah.
If someone's under a great deal of stress, they can become targeted, if you like.
Is it because they're just like their mental defenses are possibly weaker or something?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So there's this theory that if there is something there that is potentially negative, they hone in on the weakest target in, let's say, the house, for example. Pregnant women are one of those targets generally.
Because they're busy helping the kid exist.
Well, there's a lot going on when a lady's pregnant, right? There's a lot of hormones, there's stress, it could be financial stress even with the impending birth of their child, lots of things, So, I do believe in that.
Do you think it goes backwards as well? So, backwards is probably a really stupid term for that. Like, positively as well. If you come in with like a super positive attitude, do you think something positive could attach to you and kind of make your life better?
Potentially. I mean, I haven't really heard like examples of that, and I haven't experienced it myself, but I think, that is possible for sure. Before when I finish an investigation and I've sort of packed up for the night and I'm about to get in the car and drive away, I actually say out loud, kind of a few words that I always say. And, it's like, thank you for the communication. You don't have permission to follow me. You don't have permission to attach to me or to my belongings, that type of thing. You must remain here. I just do that, and I feel, I don't know if that just helps me personally.
So I was going to say, what makes a ghost follow rules?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like, why should I listen to you?
Yeah, shut up, dude.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm doing what I want around here.
Yeah. So that's pretty common with investigators. They do that sort of thing.
Yeah. I hung out with a guy once, and he would kind of say like, come in, get a blessing before you go into a place.
Yep.
That protects you while you're there, and all sorts of bits and pieces.
Yep.
I was like, what?
I think it's important when you go somewhere to introduce yourself too, because you're there with the belief that you're going to be communicating with something not of this world, right? So I think it's really important to acknowledge them if they are there. So
if you're trying to communicate with them, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Because if you're not, they could be like, you're just another dickhead here.
That's right. Yeah, you could just be a tourist looking through a tourist attraction or whatever it might be. But if you are trying to reach out, actively reach out, I think that's important. Like introduce yourself, use your name, tell them why you're there, that you're not there to harm them or distress them in any way. And, I've had things come through during investigations where you're pretty much told to leave, like blatantly told to leave.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff where it's just like, get out of here. You're not welcome.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
I normally sort of let that go initially, but if it's followed up multiple times, then just out of respect, like because I don't know what I'm dealing with, none of us do. I do. I leave, you know. So
yeah, I kind of guess like if there's something that's communicating, saying get the fuck out of here. Yeah, all right.
that's right. Yeah,
It's like being in someone's house.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, I don't want you in my house.
that's right.
Like,
If
I'll
you're
get out
not
of
welcome, you're not welcome, right?
here. Yeah.
So
it's not going to lead to anything good, is it?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any like people in the community that do like to poke the bear?
Yes, and they're the sort of people I steer clear of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, from a respect point of view, it's disrespectful.
Yeah.
And because none of us truly know what we're actually dealing with, I think you have to have some caution as well. I mean, perhaps there's nothing at all and it's all made up in our minds, but yeah, why take that risk really, you know?
Yeah. I'm one of don't poke the bear.
Yeah, I mean, there's I won't name again, but there's definitely been investigators that have had, you know, signed TV contracts that absolutely antagonise, you know, to the hilt. And yeah, it's just not my style.
Yeah.
I don't think curious viewers really want to see that either. Like, it creates some drama. Maybe there's an element of viewers that do, but I just don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're like some of the tools you're using,
Yes.
what is it that is like the most common tool?
Yes.
Like, how does it work? Like in the
I'm
best way
glad you asked because I know that this will be on Spotify and people can't see things, but I actually brought a couple of things.
Okay.
Yeah. Would
Yeah.
you like me to show you?
Yes. Yeah. Show me.
Let me
if
read.
anyone else, you can see the video if you want, but I'll explain it in as great details what I'm saying.
You want to
Make it
watch the
easier.
video?
Well, if they don't want to watch it, I'll explain it as well to what it is because some people I listen to a lot of podcasts while I'm driving. So
Yeah, same.
even though I'm like, there's so many videos, I'm like, I'm not seeing that. I'm just gonna have to figure out what I can hear.
Yeah, that's right. That's why we have imaginations, right?
Yeah.
So what I've got in my hand here.
It's like a little see-through ball with a red dot on top. Looks like a little grenade.
Yeah, so these are referred to as cat balls.
Cat balls. Okay.
Yeah, not actually from castrated felines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But they're a toy for your cat, right?
Yeah.
And they're sold that way as cat balls.
I've seen these before.
Yeah, so on the top, there's a little red on-off button.
Yeah. It flashes all different
And when you
colours.
turn it on, it flashes red and blue,
Yeah.
right? But it will turn itself
yellow.
off.
There's a yellow one in there as well.
Oh, yeah, there is an orange in there. Sorry. Yeah. So will this be in shot if I put it here?
If you put it
On top of the pop
on top
vinyl?
of that, yeah, it's flashing right in front of you. Perfect.
Oh.
There we go. Let's sit there.
My balls dropped.
That doesn't want to be on there, eh? There's something in here going, nah, mate, stop showing it off.
Yeah.
Here's what we'll do.
Yep. Oh, that is perfect.
Problem solved.
So, let me explain the cat ball. So the way that will stop flashing in just a moment.
Okay.
So it's triggered by movement.
All right.
Yep. So almost all paranormal investigators have cat balls in their kit. I've got 7 or 8 of them basically. And they're really cheap. They're like $2 or something like that to buy.
Yeah.
Super cheap. So you can set them up in an area. And if there's any disturbance, that will start lighting up.
Okay.
Yep. Or you can use them for what we call positive intelligent response. So for example, you could have 2 bits of paper, yes on one, no on the other, and a cat ball on each. And you can start asking questions like, did you die here, for example?
And then any kind of movement will make it work.
Yeah. Okay. And then if it starts lighting up on yes, then you can maybe think that, yes, they did die here, and you could start some sort of intelligent communication, let's say.
And so how sensitive are they?
Very.
So if I yell at it.
No, it
Okay.
won't go off.
Okay.
If you're using them outdoors and there's a breeze, it's quite possible it will go off.
Okay. So if I blow on it,
You can try.
I'm going to try it.
Yeah, go on. Oh, you moved the
bumped the
table.
table.
Yeah.
Before I put the breath out.
So-
wait a second.
You know, a lot of old places that you investigate have wooden floorboards, right?
Yeah.
And you can set one up 6 feet from you, and you could like move on the floorboard, and it's going to flex and just trigger it, right?
Yeah.
So where I've found like really compelling is if you set them up somewhere and you have a static camera watching them, and there is absolutely no one around, and there's no airflow or anything like that. That's when they light up. It's
That's
kind
the
of
best.
wow, yeah. And I've had
try
them
blow
light
it
up. Yep.
I didn't succeed.
Yeah, so it's taking quite a bit there, right?
I put a pretty big breath in it from a
Yeah,
distance.
and it's quite nestled in the bottle top as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But that just means any breeze going over it, I guess, isn't going to... It's if that thing itself moves.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
If that gets movement, it will light up. They're like really sensitive.
I'm going to flip this box as well because I'm...
Yeah, it probably will. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So you
Fuck
hardly
all.
tapped it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally tapped the box with the end of my nail and it moved and
Yeah.
it lit up.
Where I've had like, I set like a row of them up once, and it was a prison cell as well, leading across a corridor into an open like exercise courtyard. And this particular prison cell used to house only females, and the door, from what I understand, hadn't been open to that cell for quite a long time. So I opened the door, put one in the cell, one in the corridor, and a couple in the courtyard, and I basically invited anyone that might still be in there to come out. And what was really weird was when I was encouraging them to come out into the fresh air in the courtyard, they sort of all went off in succession.
Really?
Like towards me and then into the courtyard. So it's like, wow, that's really cool. So, I mean, that's just one of the really basic things that we use.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's always important that you can't hang your hat on one bit of equipment reacting or doing something.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to have at least two pieces, maybe three, to kind of go, well, this could be intelligent communication. You couldn't just go out there with cat balls and go, oh yeah, there's definitely something there because the cat ball lit up, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very curious. In my head, I've got this like thought, like, is it going to go off the whole podcast now it's sitting there? So can we just leave there for the whole pod?
Of course we can. We can put more out if you want. We can put some in the room that will be out of shot. But
I would have kept them in the camera. That way.
well, do you want some more?
Yeah, we should be in the middle of there.
Yeah.
I'll put them in a spot. If we stick one here, that shouldn't move too far.
So you got to turn it on. So it's on now. Oop.
Oh, that one moved from the bump.
Yeah, exactly. They're quite
They're
sensitive.
very sensitive.
Yeah. Do you want another one somewhere?
Let's go. Let's stick one inside the sword.
There you go.
That way. There's 3 spots for him to hit.
So like my high quality pouch for them.
Yeah, that's great.
The medium sized freezer bag normally does the job.
Works perfectly.
Let's put another one. Will this be seen here?
I think so, but it might end up out of the shot later. But if it pops up, it pops up.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So-
And that way, if one moves without the rest moving, we know it's not a bump in the table.
Correct. Now, I will disclaimer. Obviously, you can buy them really cheap, right?
Yeah.
So they haven't been highly engineered by anyone. They're a mass-produced thing. So you can get...
Just the searching of movement, right?
Yeah, you can get faulty ones.
Yeah. Oh, they just actually
We know
set
that.
off.
Yeah, so if I've had 6 set up, for example, and one just seems to be going off in a particular location, I'll actually swap it out for another one.
Okay.
So if...
Or even just swap it from across the room to
Yeah,
test.
just with another one, right? So then if the one that was flashing a lot is still flashing a lot somewhere else, you're like, yeah, okay, that's probably a faulty ball. But if the one you've replaced it with, the new one, starts doing it, then you can go, well, maybe there is something to
Something's
it.
going on.
So, yeah.
All right. What's the next piece?
Okay, probably the next most common piece. Have you heard of a K2 meter?
Look, I've heard of a few things. I don't remember what they are. If something doesn't really, really stick in my brain, it doesn't mean I haven't heard of it, and you might spark my memory.
K2 meter.
Yes, I've seen these things
You've
before.
seen it?
Yeah.
So how it works, it detects electromagnetic interference, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's got a 9-volt battery in there, the ones you put on your tongue. And,
Yep, no zap ya.
Yep. So you just turn it on here, and the lights will light up just momentarily while it settles down. And in its stagnant state, you get a green light.
Yeah.
Yep. So you could set this up somewhere, or you can hold it, and you could ask questions and ask any potential spirits or ghosts to come close and light this up, because it's thought that energy
Still has
from
electromagnetic
spirits,
field.
yeah, exactly, and can trigger that.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it has to be used with caution, because there's so many things in our world that could trigger that as well.
Well, even they believe that hearts have their own electromagnetic field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have a heart, so it won't go. But if I just grab my phone, if I put my phone near it,
It will start going off. It's start going off. Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
see how instantly it starts
Yeah,
going.
because I was looking into and everyone's going to think I'm an absolute loon after I say this, silver tulle that you put over your bed to have an electromagnetic field that stops any electromagnetic fields getting you away sleep.
Yeah.
Because I've seen these things, and you put them near your phone, and then you put it near your phone when it's charging.
Yeah.
And it's even further away that it starts.
Yes.
And I was like, fuck, man, I literally sleep with my phone on my bedside table that
That's
close.
right. A lot of people do, right?
Am I frying my brain?
Yeah. So I actually did a little exercise, actually not long ago, because one of my children, their bed head is against a wall where on the other side is like the instantaneous gas hot water system.
Yep.
And that's powered as well for the ignition. So I'd put the meter sort of against the wall and this thing lit up. And I actually have another type of EMF meter that's more a digital readout, and it tells you the strength of it. I was a bit horrified.
How much is coming off it?
Yeah, so much. Yeah. I'm thinking, well, he's sleeping there every night. His head's really close to that. Is that good or bad, you know? So, yeah.
There's no definitive studies on if EMF is bad, but...
Correct.
It's still like...
It makes you think, right?
You're hanging out with it on you all the time. I get paranoid about it. I think about where my phone sits in my pocket.
Yeah, same.
And I'm like, man, my leg just going to fall off one day?
Yeah, or you get ball cancer or anything. Like, who knows? I mean, do you remember like years ago, I'm a bit older than you, but you know, the use of the first Nokias and stuff, holding it up to your head all the time. And there was like, I don't know if it was ever proven, but it was like causing brain tumors and this sort of thing.
Yeah, people assuming it was. My thought process on it now is that if our hearts have an electromagnetic field, probably not dangerous. But it's still fucking weird.
It is, yeah.
It's still like, and then it's just an invisible force that's happening.
Oh, it's probably the mic.
Is it the mic? Well, the mic's only shouldn't have a field because it just collects information.
Yeah.
What could it be? It might be this. Let's see if it's this.
Well, that would probably trigger it.
No,
not really.
It's not my Ooh, we had a little reading just randomly in the room, and we don't know what it's from.
We did. I was thinking we could sit this.
Did you? Oh, did I get a message? Let's see if I got a message while that happened. No, I haven't got a message in the last 3 minutes. So
no.
I don't know. Have you ever tested it? That little bump again there.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever had any? It's getting a little fucking flash.
I'll hold it here for.
It's only going one up. Have you ever tested it with sending a message to someone in the same room, like SMS, to see if it kind of like, there's like you can capture the distance of an SMS to somebody or something?
No, I haven't, but I have used like just little two-way radios.
Yeah.
And they can set it off.
Yep.
And a REM pod, I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's another device that's commonly used and quite expensive actually. They tend to get set off by that type of thing as well. So, yeah, it actually a REM pod creates its own magnetic field around it through an antenna. And then if that gets disturbed, it triggers lights and sound, basically.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what's that musical instrument?
Theremin.
Yes.
Yep.
It's basically, the boards inside a REM pod are basically like a theremin.
Ah.
Yeah. It works very similar.
Yeah. That's my
you can build them yourself.
Favorite instrument.
It's so cool. And
so fucking weird.
You can go to, it's either J-Car or Ultronics.
Yeah.
And you can buy a
kit to buy your own.
Yeah, for like $100 and you can build it.
Yeah. I've looked into getting one too many times.
Have you?
Yeah. So
I really want one as well.
It's like a full creepy noise that they create.
I know.
But the way that it works is super difficult. And it's just, I remember the first time I seen one and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Do you know who Bill Bailey is?
Yes.
And so he's a master at that instrument.
Yes.
Is it theremin?
Theremin, yeah.
With a TH. Theremin, yeah. Yeah, he's very good at it.
Yeah, because it's literally two different rods that have a field around them, and you have to interact with your fingers in the air.
Yes.
Not even not touching it.
Yeah.
And the distance between is where you can like wobble the pitch and tone.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So that's kind of how a REM pod works, which is I actually don't own one.
Yeah.
They're about a $400 item basically. Probably will put it on the list, but I've. In my experience using them with people that have them, I've never really had anything too compelling with them.
Yeah.
And when they have gone off, there's been quite a logical explanation.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just something interactive with the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not getting anything else right now.
No, we're not. We can
You
leave it
should.
somewhere if you want.
Yeah. The dumb thing with it, the design, right? You can't actually just stand it up.
stand
It
it
falls
up or
over.
anything.
You can buy a little 3D printed stand, but maybe we can pop him here.
Yeah, you can stick with noob.
I just want you to be able to see
Might
the
slide
lights.
in here. Where's he going to go there?
Thanks.
There we go.
Yeah, that's good.
I can see how that works.
Yeah.
Our ghostly Mortal Kombat figure is going to find out if we've got any ghosts in the room.
Yeah, so a lot of people might use them near an object where there's suspicion of object attachment as well. So that's a big thing too. You know, it could be something that was really important to someone. And then a lot of people that I follow in the paranormal community, mostly overseas again, you know, there's a lot to do with attachments to dolls, which, you know, just freak me out anyway.
Dolls?
Yeah.
Like Annabelle and stuff?
Yeah, like Annabelle,
Chucky
but even the probably what were very expensive dolls in the day
them
that,
weird
you know,
China
a small
fucking
girl
dolls?
would care for forever. Yeah, all that sort of stuff.
Those things are fucking odd.
Oh yeah, I mean just the eyes and
Yeah.
I'm not really into that stuff. Dolls and clowns, not cool. Yeah.
Okay, yep. The classical horror scare thing.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Have you got anything else?
What else did I bring? Yes. So I would call them like the basic stuff, right?
These are the basic, movement, and that's electromagnetic fields.
Let's put this in the basic category as well.
Okay.
This I actually bought from Officeworks.
Okay.
It's just a digital voice recorder.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think this one's an Olympus brand.
It's just
There's
picks up
lots of them.
any kind of sound frequency.
Yeah, you can. I mean, they're designed to be used to record notes, right?
Yeah.
So the intent is to capture EVPs, electric voice phenomenon.
Yep.
Yep. So you could hit record in a location and ask a question, and then give time for a response. Ask another question, and then maybe ask 3 or 4, and then play it back and see if you've recorded anything.
So anything like at a lower volume, is that the idea, possibly?
It's basically anything that maybe we can't detect with the human ear, but is recordable.
Okay.
And this is...
So running at a different frequency to what our ears are working with.
That's right, yeah. And you could even use like the voice recorder on your phone if you want. It's going to work the same as this basically. But the reason I prefer a standalone device is there's no kind of other influence. It's just straight out digital voice recorder.
Yeah.
And they're cheap as hell as well. So, if you're doing investigations, you should have one of these in your kit.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to say I've never recorded anything very compelling, but a lot of people do. And I've been shared those EVPs, if you like. Yeah. Including in the Swan View Tunnel, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, when I revisit, I'll probably do a lot more attempts at EVP recording because they're quite clear to hear, the responses. Yeah, they can be very, very clear.
Yeah.
Some very much open to interpretation. So when I've been sent them by friends that are investigators overseas, I tell them, don't tell me what you heard as a response. So just send it to me and I'll tell you what I heard.
Yeah, because you would have obviously seen the videos where there's a recording playing.
Yes.
And they've put words up on the screen.
Yes.
And they have the exact same recording playing with a different word up on the screen, exact same recording with a different word. And every time you read the word, you hear a different thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Exactly.
Why can't my brain decipher what it's been convinced to believe?
Yeah. It's like misheard song lyrics in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, misheard song lyrics is probably easier because you're trying to decipher something. But when it's like a word that's said and you hear it 3 different ways, just because there's a visual stimulus...
Yes.
This is what the word's meant to be. That's the shit. When I started seeing that happen and have that tested on me, I was like, I can't trust any noise.
Yeah.
At that point, every noise becomes like, what else has stimulated me to believe that noise was this?
Yes.
And how quickly can I change my mind on what I've heard?
Yeah, you've had a visual prompt. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I think that works the same way in my head. The way I look at it is, if you've had a visual prompt, you could also have a personal belief prompt. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you think you're deliberately hearing something and then you hear it that way, you're going to hear it that way.
Yeah.
So you fuck with yourself.
You do.
Yeah.
You're tricking yourself.
Yeah. Hey, he's going off.
Look at that.
That machine's going red. It's not happy that I've started. That's making me feel real weird. It's not happy that I'm talking about
Isn't
me
it
tricking
weird
myself.
that when that went off, Well, that's quite a strong response.
That's going off.
Yeah. It's when the rain started. Did you notice that?
Oh, I didn't hear the rain. I had something else going on in my head. So that's good that it's the rain. That makes me feel slightly better.
I'm not saying it is. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, that's kind of strange.
That
yeah.
timing is... Fuck.
We've got to keep an eye on that. Are you going to be okay sleeping here alone tonight?
Oh, yeah, look.
I'm making assumptions you're here alone.
I've got tinnitus anyway. So
do ya?
I've got tinnitus really bad.
Okay.
This whole podcast, I've got a whistling going on in the hallway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it literally sounds like not the wind at the moment. It changes. It goes from like crickets to ringing to this whistling that is kind of like it doesn't have a consistent tone. It's like a wee.
Oh, how annoying for you.
I'm used to it now.
Yeah, I guess you get used to it.
It's just odd.
Is it from like diving or something or?
I have no idea what it's from.
Yeah.
I've had it for so long.
Wow.
Yeah, but it changes. It changes its format, which is odd.
Okay.
Like it used to just be a ring.
Yeah.
When I first got it, it was crickets. And I thought I was going insane.
Yeah.
I started hearing crickets, and I remember seeing in a movie somewhere that they were talking about Vietnam vets having crickets in their ears because they've like lost their mind. And I didn't tell anyone for like a good 6 months. I was like, I might be doing crazy, but I'm keeping it a secret.
Yeah, that's right. No one's going to know.
I definitely didn't touch anything.
You
there.
didn't?
No.
I didn't. My feet are near my chair.
That's odd.
So-
We've had the one in the sword go off,
Yeah, the cat ball down here. Probably can't see it,
but not the rest of the table.
no. Have you had any experiences in this house at all?
Yes
Because
and no.
without freaking you out, there's a lot of history in this area.
In Baldivis, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just Baldivis, but the surrounding suburbs as well, right?
Yeah.
So,
I've had a bit of sleep paralysis and stuff,
okay.
but I've had that for ages. I get that when I fuck with myself too much.
Yeah.
But I had a sleep paralysis cat in this house for a little bit,
Right.
which was pretty odd.
What do you mean? Okay.
So people in the pod might have heard this before, but I literally couldn't move,
Okay.
and I had a cat curl up like behind my neck and start purring,
Really?
and I could hear it, and I was like, "What the fuck? I don't have a cat."
Wow.
But then I couldn't move.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, and then I kind of like, when I eventually moved, I was like, there's no cat in my house, right? So I went for a little, I was like, went back to bed. And then I woke up in the sleep paralysis mode again, and I could hear a cat playing with a plaything in the hallway.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't see it, but I made my eyes open, and I was looking at my door, and I could see down the hall, but I was like, I can't see a fucking cat, but I can hear it.
Weird.
And I've had similar stuff like that a few times.
Okay.
But I've also had
Only in this home?
that's in this house. The cat was in this house.
Okay.
I stayed at my mate's house in Melbourne, and I copped it with a dog.
Wow.
I felt like there was a dog on the bed, and I thought it was their dog.
Yeah,
Because they
right.
had a small dog. And I was like, oh, fuck, I left the door open. The dog's in here. And then when I could move, I was like, dog's not in here.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, that is strange.
But I've had I see weird figurey shit with sleep paralysis.
Okay.
The most recent one was I had like a male Medusa's head floating in the corner of the room while I was
Whoa.
in sleep paralysis mode. And I was like,
that's
that
scary.
sucks.
Yeah.
Close my eyes.
Wow. So I haven't really experienced anything like that before.
Okay, yeah.
I kind of have. There was a period where I was high stress in my life, something that was going on, and I was given, it was like a pendulum basically. And the idea was to ask it questions, and it would either go around in circles
Yes,
for
yeah, I've
yes
seen that.
or swing for no. So I started messing with this thing. And as soon as I started messing with this thing, I started getting, I'd call it sleep paralysis as well. But my vision was one of those like really dark, misty figures that I thought was female. And it would like just come over me while I was sleeping at night and sort of engulf me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it bloody scared the shit out of me.
I have had that one like that recently.
Okay.
It was weird because when that happened, actually, my eyes were closed,
Yep.
but I could see my whole room, and I could see this thing coming over. And I was like, my eyes are closed.
Yeah.
Why can I see my room so well?
Yep.
And then I was kind of like, oh, I'm just going to watch it for a bit. Because I've kind of got to a point where I'm like, you're not hurting me.
Yeah.
So like, whatever.
Yeah.
And the more you just kind of go like, yeah, this is fine, whatever.
You weren't getting choked out or anything.
No,
Yeah.
I never have any problems where like it hurts me. I have had like
Yeah.
my finger bitten that dog over in Melbourne,
Really?
like, biting my finger, which was weird.
Wow.
And
Did
like,
you have like a visible teeth mark or anything?
Nothing on there, and it wasn't hard. It was just like there's a dog biting my finger. Like, pay attention to me.
Wow.
And I've had like slaps on the head, but it's not hard slaps. It's just like, and I'm like, fuck off.
Wow.
The very first time I had sleep paralysis was I got slapped 3 times, and I thought it was my friends fucking with me.
Wow.
I thought someone was just in the room, like he's
Because
facing.
it felt that real.
It was a slap.
Yeah.
And I was like, they got me the first time. I was like, I'm so tired, fuck off.
Yeah.
And then it got me the second time. I was like, oh man, if they hit me again, I'm just gonna swing around and punch them. And then I got the third one and swung, and no one was there. And I was like, fuck.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have had some pretty weird experiences with stuff like that.
Yeah. Probably more than me, to be fair.
Oh, I have attempted to astral project for a very long time.
Oh.
And I have lucid dreams since I was like 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
Do you, like, thinking about it, do you kind of have any idea why?
I trained myself to lucid dream.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Ah,
I heard about it and I was like, that sounds bullshit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm going to try and do this.
Ah.
And I got to a point where I was like, I can actually do it.
Any regrets?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool.
It's like a cheap trip, really, isn't it? Yeah.
At one point, I was doing it so much, it was getting weird. Because I was like trying to figure out, like, am I just... Cause you ever think like false awakenings?
Yep.
Where you'll wake up and you'll start living life. But it's dream. And then you'll wake up again. You're like, oh my God, I've done my whole morning.
Yeah.
It's not my morning. Then you do it again and you kind of Groundhog Day yourself. Which is, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
When that starts happening, it's annoying because then you like wake up and you're like, oh, it's a fucking dream. And then you're like, oh, but why can't I control it?
Yeah.
And then you do stuff and then you wake up, you're like, oh, it is a dream. Fuck. So that's frustrating.
It sounds like you're not getting much sleep ever.
No, so I used to really try and limit my sleep.
Yeah.
There was so I did lucid dream quite a bit and then I started limiting my sleep so I couldn't dream at all.
Okay.
But now I deliberately make sure I sleep 7 to 8 so I can dream.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. The less amount of sleep I have, you just can't remember your dreams. It's too hard.
Yeah.
But if you have, I find like 6 hours sleep, so hard to remember the dreams. 7 to 8, I'll remember it. But I'll wake up most nights at some point.
Okay.
And there'll be like something. And if the dream is detailed enough, I'll be like, all right, I have to write it down.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Because the trick is, if you can remember your dreams, then you can figure out that you're in a dream so you can control it.
Yep, understand, yeah.
So it's like the ability to consistently remember tiny fucking details in your dreams.
Yeah.
Like it's like the color of a thing, the position of this, where you were, where you thought you were, because you'll get like places mixed up. Or it's like you feel like you're in a place, but the place looks like somewhere else.
Yes, yeah.
So that's
I get that.
Yeah. And I've nearly believed memories from my dreams.
Yeah?
Yeah, many of times. Yeah.
Like that it actually happened to...
Yes. There was one point, this is where I realised I'm an absolute fucking idiot, but when I was 17,
Yep.
I called my girlfriend up and went off at her because I believed she cheated on me.
Oh,
yeah.
I've had those dreams.
Yeah.
Like, not to the point where I'd ring up or...
fully believed it.
I'd be like angry, like feeling like, you...
Oh, yeah. No,
Why
I was
did
like,
you do that?
what the fuck? What?
Yeah.
She's like, what are you talking about? And I'm
Yeah.
like, you fucking cheated on me with this guy. And she's like, it's 9 o'clock at night. You fucking loot. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then I kind of like come to him. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
So now I deliberately don't call anyone directly after a dream.
Process.
Yeah.
Chill out. Yeah.
But I've had like a dream where I had memories in the dream. When I woke up, I knew I was in a dream, but the memories inside the dream, I was like, was that real?
Yeah, okay.
And I had to like break it down.
Weird.
Because I was like, is that a hidden memory that I've like kept from myself or something? And
yeah. You know, it's funny, but on the topic of dreaming, what I have experienced, and I've never really told anyone about it, but then I heard other paranormal investigators talking about it. I'm like, holy shit, that's what I experienced. So leading up to an investigation, let's say I've got something booked in on a Saturday night, I reckon by Wednesday night, I'm actually dreaming about the location. Even if I haven't actually been there before.
yeah.
And I think it's just probably your mind
Like excited about it kind of thing.
excited, maybe preparing yourself mentally for it as well. Because, you are out of your normal comfort zone to a degree. Like, I don't get freaked out or anything like that, but I have really vivid dreams about the location. And then I generally dream about the location 2 or 3 nights after I've been there as well. And then I don't anymore.
And then it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, until the next location, and then I have the same thing happen. So, yeah, it's kind of freaky. It's almost, I kind of think about it like, I know this is going to sound whack, right? But it's like the location or any spirits that might be there, I kind of also know that you're going to be there. And they're like getting in your mind. And I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but it's almost, I'm sure it's none of that. It's like just your subconscious thoughts preparing. But then you start to think, why? And is there some greater power that is drawing me to the place? Because I get drawn to places as well.
Yeah.
So Swan View Tunnel's one of them. I feel very drawn to it. And there's other locations as well that I don't feel drawn to at all, but I'll happily go and investigate. But I do feel connection to certain places as well.
What does like the drawn feeling feel like?
It's like an overwhelming sense of curiosity and like a very solid invitation to be there.
Okay.
Anytime, any day. Yeah, it's like almost like you have to go there.
Yeah, your brain's kind of like, you do it. It's going off again.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting full readings up to the red.
Yeah.
And that's like actually pretty unusual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But-
My house is fucked. Oh, the fucking sword one's gone off again.
My knee just hit
was
the
you?
table.
Okay.
Yeah, so that probably was me.
Jeez.
But I mean, this is off, by the way.
Yeah.
And we already tested the K2 near your sound deck.
Yeah.
It didn't go, did it?
No, there was nothing over here.
No.
Should I stick it to my head and see if it's my brain? Let's see. Whoop.
Did you see that then? That was
Fucking,
cool.
it set it off as soon as my hand went near it.
That
Now-
was really strong.
Now I'm touching it. All right, let's see if it goes off with my brain. Ready? Well, it's not my fucking head.
Nah, nothing there. Let's see if you have a heart.
Let's see if I have a heart. I think some people would say, fuck no.
Granite. Yeah.
All right, that's okay. So red's like
Very strong.
very strong.
Yeah, it's a strong indication. I kind of wish I brought my digital like K2 meter now as well.
Yeah.
Because it's good to like compare next to each other as well.
Yeah.
See if they're getting the same response.
See if, yeah.
Yeah. I do have something else in my bag.
All right.
I mean,
Yes.
all my gear is in like one of those really large hard cases.
Yeah.
With the wheels and the pull handle.
Yeah, like the big case
Yeah.
ones, yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of stuff, but a lot of that as well as like my photography, video gear, tripods, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
Honestly, it was like, nah, nothing will go off. Of course, something's going off and hitting reds.
this little guy is famous in the paranormal world,
What's
investigation world. So it's called a spirit box.
Okay. I think I've seen these before.
Yeah, SB7 is the model of this one, and it's like the most widely used model of spirit box. So it's basically like a radio. It's an AM FM radio, but you can actually scan through channels in either band, not simultaneously one or the other, and you can set how fast it scans through, and you can scan through forwards or backwards through channels as well.
So see if it hits a frequency that's making noise.
It's basically like creating white noise. And the theory is that, and this theory's been around for a long time, the experimentation with white noise, if you like, created by like scanning radio frequencies has been around forever. And so it's widely used. And the idea is to ask questions and see if you get responses through the white noise, discernible responses.
Yeah.
Now, it's not great to use in like a metropolitan area because quite often you will get actual radio transmission interference.
Yeah.
So in my experience, it's better when you're sort of away, like regional,
Secluded.
Yeah, very secluded. And it does have an antenna which goes up, and there's lots of different thoughts on whether you should have the antenna up or down. And some people actually remove the antenna completely. Some people feel the AM band, they get better responses or more reliable responses. Some say FM. So it's actually a device that you kind of have to experiment a bit with and just see kind of what suits you, I guess. And the other thing that it's used for quite often is the Estes method. Have you heard of that?
No, I might have, but refresh us.
So Estes method is where you have two people involved.
One has the headphones on?
Yeah, one has noise cancelling headphones and blindfolded, just, for that sensory deprivation, if you like. Yep. And they'll be hooked into this. The other person is asking questions out loud, but the person that we call under, so with the headphones and the mask on, listening to this, can't actually hear the questions. And then when they hear a response on here, they say it out loud.
Ah.
Yeah, so there's you're not influencing answers, if you like.
Yeah, yeah.
So
they're kind of doing what the spirit box is doing itself as well while you're doing two at once. So see if you get the same noise at the same time.
So they can't hear, the person asking the questions can't hear the answers the person sitting there speaks them.
But if you're filming it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's if you say the same thing as the box does without hearing it, it's that's... Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, you
become a conduit, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly what the person listening becomes, a conduit. Yep, the messenger.
Yeah.
But without influence. It's kind of like a way of shoring up the evidence, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really popular. I've done quite a lot of Estes as far as asking questions and been under as well. I actually really like it. But I do a lot of investigating solo as well, so it's difficult to achieve, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got to have somebody else, a partner, yeah.
Yeah. Because I had a very odd experience when I did a hearing test once.
Okay.
And
K2.
it's going off again, fucking hell. Every time I mention my hearing, which is...
Oh, yeah, and you just went again when you said hearing.
Yeah. Maybe that fucking whistling isn't tinnitus. And I've just had something attached to me for fucking eons.
Could be.
It's not a good thing.
No, not really.
I
should have brought the sage. Done a smudging before I left.
Just have to eat the sage. I'll just get it out. No, so I did a hearing test, right? And it was in a booth, and it was just cream and heaps of dots.
Oh, yeah.
And you just put the headphones on, and you have to press left or right when you hear a tone in your ear.
Yeah.
And I was doing it, and I started hallucinating.
Really?
So I was in this box, and it wasn't anything really crazy, but the dots started changing colours and disappearing and popping in and out.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And I'm trying to focus on these noises while I've got ringing that I didn't really think was anything to do with how this test is going to go.
Yeah.
And I was also I wanted to keep the job, so
Fair enough.
I didn't really tell them about it.
Yeah.
Turns out I had industrial deafness at that point in time.
Oh, right.
That's how I found out.
Okay.
But it was so weird. I was like, why is this making me fucking suffer in this box? Scared the fuck out of me. Didn't make me want to do a hearing test ever again.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because I was just like, this shouldn't be happening.
What was with the dots, though?
I think it was just a piece of metal that just had holes in it.
Oh.
And I was just sitting this close to a fucking wall.
Yeah, that's not nice.
And I think it just completely fucked up my field of view, and then I was sensory deprived again, so it just started...
Well, I can tell you they're not like that now. If you go to Specsavers and have a hearing test, because they do that too, it's quite comfortable. So, yeah.
They're not just in a little box. I think I would go back to the box now.
Oh.
Now that I've got way more information, I'm not freaked out by stupid shit.
Okay.
I'm am I going to start seeing weird shit in this box?
Try it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's it. I think it's pretty much how the Gansfeld effect works.
Yep.
Is you've got noise so loud you can't hear anything.
Yeah.
You've got one field of view of colour, and you don't move at all. So you're just
That's right. Yeah. Which sort of brings me to, I guess, the probably the very most common thing that's most accessible to people that are curious to communicate is the array of apps you can get on your phones, right?
Yeah.
So
do you trust it if it's from a phone?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
So I do use them, but I definitely take responses with a grain of salt. But then there's been times where I've just been quite surprised by the responses, because you could call it coincidence, yes, but they seem quite intelligent and direct responses to what you're asking.
Okay.
But then, people can say, well, your phone has a microphone, so what's to say the questions you're asking, you know, the intelligence of the app, the AI, whatever it might be, is spitting out something that could be perceived as a response.
Yeah, especially with how well AI is nowadays, I think that there'll be a lot of apps that will be made with a AI built into it to be like, hey, fuck with them.
Yes. So a lot of investigators, if they do use a phone app, they like to have a phone that has nothing else installed on it. They don't even have a SIM card in there. They're not connected to Wi-Fi, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like just a standalone device with the app in.
I kind of feel like more analog devices would be the best bet.
Yes.
Because it just seems like this is exactly what this thing is used for. It can only be done, it can't be tampered with, kind of thing.
That's right. Yeah. So, you know, a lot of people in the community, paranormal community that I engage with, there's many that just say, what a load of shit. They're basically for entertainment purposes only. Cool. I kind of am more that way, but I also, in using them in my experience and then having a secondary piece of equipment to corroborate kind of like intelligent response, it makes me think, well, there could be something to it as well.
Yeah.
So I think you have to be very cautious. But yeah, I've had some pretty cool stuff. Like one, I don't think I've actually put it on YouTube yet. I think I did a small trailer on it, but one of the responses I got, you generally get words spaced out over time, but I actually got the word doctor and then very shortly after green. So I went Dr. Green. Oh, Dr. Green, maybe. And the investigator I was with, the next day, she was doing some research and there was a Dr. Green that was associated with this location. And we found his photo. We found some history that he was basically dismissed from the area because he was practicing whilst under the influence of alcohol and this sort of stuff. So yeah, I mean, you could outright go, that's just like pure coincidence. Cool. But yeah, it's just things like that kind of make you second guess it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's other app-based kind of products too. So I use something called GhostTube Seer. So GhostTube is like the brand and they make different types of paranormal software. It's actually Australian, started in Australia. And Seer is another one that uses AI to create images instead, rather than like voice responses. And I've had some like really weird images formed that just absolutely mirror kind of like what was suspected to be there. So I was actually in 2J Bakery, and the guy that occupied the building had it built for him. He was like he had like a drapery business in there basically. And there's this beautiful old photo I found of him on Batty Library or somewhere like that. Anyway, so I'd seen this photo of him a couple of days before, and then I used Seer, and the very first image I got was basically the identical person. Like the image that came up was, you would look at both and go, that is the same person.
That's the same person, yeah.
I was like, whoa, that's cool. And then the other time I used Seer that was amazing was I actually had a member of the public reach out to me who felt they had some sort of haunting from their dog that had passed away, and that they'd had other indicators, but they invited me into the home. I sort of sussed it out first, then I went back later and organised it. They left the home, and I actually put my device with Seer running with the bowl that belonged to the dog and the collar on the other side, and I was sort of reaching out to their family pet, and the first image that came up was actually of a dog. So I actually didn't use the word dog or anything like that in my questioning. And yeah, I got that response. I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes you think, you know.
Yeah.
Again, could be purely coincidental. I definitely think you shouldn't rely just on that type of thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing I like it for is it when you arrive at a location, you start investigating, it kind of seems to, it prompts you to ask questions and take a certain conversation path, and it sort of just like sets the tone for the evening kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
this is what's coming out to start off with. This is maybe what we're looking for, kind of thing.
yeah, and I've also noticed when I've returned to places that I've been before, the responses I get are very, very similar. They're in line. So there's one location I can think of where had this real family vibe to it with the responses, and I went back there months later, and I was getting very similar responses.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, take them with a pinch of salt probably, but yeah, I like them, and I think they have some merit. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So when it comes to, you obviously started off with UFOs.
Yeah.
Go on to aliens. Is there any correlation to you between UFO or like aliens and ghosts?
I guess the only correlation really
Oh, he's going off again.
is I guess they're unexplained. You know.
Okay.
So there's no such thing as like a paranormal expert. I don't believe there's any such thing as a UFO expert either. Certainly neither of them are sciences in any way. Although you can do like a degree in, I think it's called parapsychology, something like that.
Yeah. What I might do,
Yeah.
I might stick this in here
Okay.
because I reckon
Yep.
we'll still be able to see that, right? We can set it up like that.
Yeah, we'll know if it's blinking.
That way, I think the camera's going to get that.
Okay.
Yeah, the camera can see it. That way, now you guys can see what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Because that thing's gone off too many times for me to be like, this
Yeah,
is...
it's been a lot.
It's weird. And it's giving me the fucking... Am I being haunted? So I guess it's instead of us just talking about it, you just can see it if it pops off again. So I think, in my head, thinking this is subject's going to be the one that brings it up. So I've got a theory
Go on. I wanna hear it.
that I kind of consider gods, aliens, ghosts, all of that in this same kind of realm.
Yep.
Where it's like four-dimensional beings that are just like trying to communicate with us in a way that we can understand it because we're too stupid.
Yep.
Whereas like I could be totally wrong. I might just be like 4 dimensions don't even exist.
Yep.
But if it did, I gotta go. That's where I put everything is like it's where we just can't see it. We can't perceive it properly. We're just not smart enough. We don't have enough perception.
Yes. Yep.
To get it because like you kind of see where sound and light, the amount that we can perceive is so small to what exists out there.
True. Yeah. Yeah. No, I like the train of thought.
Yes. Yeah.
I think for me, I've always thought, let's talk aliens, like to think that we would be the only intelligent being. You know, when I say intelligent, that's based on compared to other living animals that we know of on Earth, right?
Yeah.
So we, like you said, we could be super dumb compared to other beings that are living somewhere else in the universe or galaxies or wherever. So I think to think we're the only life form like us or even remotely like us is probably a little bit ignorant, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I just think it's like even as far as not even being that far away from us.
Yeah.
Like if you kind of understand how 4-dimension works.
Yep.
Like it could literally be here, like next to us.
That's right. Yeah.
We just can't see it.
Correct.
So there could just be beings just being in the room being like, hey,
Yeah.
you dumb fuck can't even see us.
That's right. Yeah.
It's just like in a spot where we just can't get or understand.
So what then, let's say, what do you think then makes that visible to us at times?
I just think it's like an effort of communication from them to us.
Yeah.
So like if you were to, I try and think of it as a way like of what we can perceive. I go, if there was a 2-dimensional being, which there isn't, but let's just say like any kind of parasite, any kind of like cell, any of those kind of things.
Yeah.
If we were to attempt to communicate with it, no fucking chance.
Yeah.
Because how the fuck we think it's stupid, right?
Yeah.
So how would we know? They could be doing all this stuff that's going on. They're just like, you are so dumb.
Yeah.
Just looking at us going, what are you walking around?
Yeah.
You fucking idiots.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And they're just so much more advanced to us in every thought process and even just perception. They're just like, we could just be on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. It could be. Yeah.
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 So that's kind of, I just go, maybe they're just going, let's fuck with that today. Let's see. So this silly human does if we fucking poke the bear around it.
I'll be honest, like that's quite thought provoking, and I've never really looked at things like that. Like, you know, I've heard of that sort of train of thought, but never really given it deeper thought, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, spend a lot of time trying to figure out how I could perceive a fourth dimension.
Yes. Yeah. So, like, the UFO thing, for example, I guess when I was young, I kind of fantasized in some ways that they were a thing, like they were real. But then as I got older and did a lot of reading, I then kind of started thinking down the path of, well, the military of various nations could have advanced technology, and that's just what's being seen by accident. And then I've actually gone back to my original thought as I've gotten even older as well, particularly with there's been a lot of focus from military personnel. They call them, I think, UAPs now, don't they?
Yeah.
Don't call them UFOs.
Yeah.
Like the inquiries they've had about UAP.
The American government flat out was like, yeah, we got them.
Yeah.
But they were like, you're like, what? And everyone just kind of was like, yeah, they're lying about it now.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I know. I've gone full circle on it, put it that way.
Yeah. It's just, to me, it's just like there's governments are known to fuck with us.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, it could be real.
Could
they
be.
could also just be like, you know what we're going to do? Just throw this shit at them. We'll fuck with them.
Yeah, they might go, look, let's tell them all it's real now and see what response we get.
Yeah.
And then they're sitting there laughing at us going, what?
Yeah.
Didn't expect that.
It's not past the government to be making crap up to make us do something what they want us to do.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. We're all manipulated, right?
Yeah.
In every sense of our life. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of time doing that shit.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But I've never actually drawn myself, unlike you, drawn any sort of link between my curiosity of UFO and the spirit world. I've just treated them as separate things.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking, wow, this is a different way to look at it. So thanks for that perspective. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's because eventually I used to stick things in the same bucket. But this train of thought, I'm like, they could actually be in the same bucket.
Yeah.
Like there is a way it correlates that they could be.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
And then it kind of, so it could all just be the same thing.
Uh-huh.
And we just are giving it different versions because we're just seeing it in different ways.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know, obviously.
I don't know if you've heard much of this, but they say that younger people, let's say 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, let's say that age bracket, they say that they see more things than we do, right?
Yeah, their doors of perception are higher. Are more
that's
open.
right. So my train of thought has always been around that, is they haven't had a lot of life experience and things that have influenced their thoughts. So they're kind of like a full open mind that hasn't had this barrage of experience and events and things that have happened to them.
Hasn't got blockage to make
To shape and mold their perception of things. So they're just completely open-minded. And generally kids of that age, they don't really have life stress. They have their own type of life stress, but it's not comparable to us as adults that have responsibilities and that type of thing. So
and they wouldn't know the difference. Like if you seen a person walking around that shouldn't be in the house, you're not going to be like, oh.
That's right. Yeah.
So like parents' friend, whatever.
Yeah. Or I've been playing with little Billy for years.
Yeah. My son did have an imaginary friend for a little bit, and it fucking freaked me out.
Did it? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh no.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything too weird, but it made me fully go research shit.
Oh, really?
I was like, kids' imaginary friends, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then it seemed like it was kind of really normal.
Okay.
Yeah, it seemed.
What is that? I haven't experienced with my kids. What causes a kid to have an imaginary friend?
One of 5 kids that I've parented.
Okay.
That copped it, and the one it is has the most, the biggest imagination out of all of them.
Huh.
So I was just like, maybe bonus kind of thing. It's there's no real consensus online about what it is.
Okay.
It just kind of seems like it's their way of interacting with the world.
Okay.
So they're just creating this character or whatever it is, and it's fun.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, okay, because he wasn't like, there's this dude walking around with me kind of thing. It wasn't that, but he had this little character that he was talking about.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be like, you insane? Because I did think maybe the kid was losing his mind.
Okay.
That's where my first thing went. He's got an imaginary friend. he's lost the fucking plot.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to be like, oh, where, what? Let me see. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I didn't want to kind of like make him try and lie to me about it.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do as a kid.
That's right, yeah.
If you get told you're insane, you're like, well, fuck, you'll just lie.
I didn't even know the concept of an imaginary friend until, remember Sally on Home and Away and she had Milko?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Yeah, I was like, this is quite embarrassing, I guess. But
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell's an imaginary friend? Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a weird concept, but it seems to always happen to kids under 5.
Okay.
So like before memories are really like forming. Because I never remember having one myself.
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. The thing is, if you did, it's before your memories would like remember it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it happens in kids where it's before they're like fully forming memories, is what it seems like.
Okay.
Yeah, which is what confused me even more.
So my memory goes back to 18 months old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have very specific memories, and talking to my mum in particular, yeah, we date them at, I was about 18 months old. Yeah, and they're still vivid in my mind today.
Jeez,
Yeah.
1.5.
Yeah.
You might be the person, I was one of the person that told me they remember like real young, but
Yep.
yeah, 1.5 is
Yeah, it's crazy.
tiny. Yeah, my earliest memory was like 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was my 4th birthday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty normal.
It was not a good birthday.
Oh, okay, cool. There was a reason
I got
why.
dressed up as a dinosaur, and I did not want to be dressed up as a dinosaur.
That'll do it.
Yeah, had like green face paint on and shit. And I was like, I hate this. Why are we doing this?
Nice,
This is meant
traumatized
to be
for
my
life.
fucking birthday.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
am I getting dressed up like shit I don't like?
When you said it was a bad birthday, I was thinking way worse than being dressed up as a dinosaur. So,
No,
yeah.
I was just annoyed
Okay.
because, you know,
Kind of happy to hear that now. Yeah.
it's my birthday. And I was, in my eyes, I was being tortured. I was like, this is not what I want.
No, fair enough too. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So I guess when it comes to, I'm curious about this going off in here. What could you suspect if that's going off in here? What could that be? What are some things it could possibly be?
All right. So I've been thinking about this. So your model over here.
Yeah.
What's it made out of?
That is made out of resin.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So I thought it was some sort of metal, right?
I think there is some steel in there. Let me pull one of these off and I'll be able to see. No, it's all resin.
Oh, okay. Well, that theory's out the window. So while we were sitting here and it was going off, I was going to ask you about this, but if that was like made of metal of some sort, I was thinking it could be acting as like an antenna,
Okay.
if you like, to any electromagnetic.
That would be very much working here as well, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly. Yeah. Has it gone off in there at all?
I don't think it's moved at all in there.
I think it's weird that it was kicking off when the rain bursts were coming through.
Yeah.
It's like, it's that water theory again, potentially.
Interesting.
But also electrical storms as well. Obviously, there's much more charged particles in the atmosphere when there's an electrical storm going off as well. So I haven't, honestly, I have to say I haven't stood out in an electrical storm with a K2 meter and seen what I've done. I'm actually going to do that now.
Yeah.
I was out in an electrical storm in a cemetery about 4 weeks ago.
In a cemetery as well, geez.
Yeah, not far from here. I think it's called East Rockingham Pioneer Cemetery.
Is that the one near the tip?
I'm
On
not
Miller
familiar
Road?
with the area, so I'm not sure. I know across the road you could see like the industrial kind of area there.
Yeah, I know what that is. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. That's it's near Dixon Road, so it's near the Rockingham industrial area.
Fucking dark in there.
Yeah,
Like,
I've
super dark.
never gone in there. I've looked at it,
Yeah.
driven past it. To be honest, I've never been in a graveyard at all.
Really?
Yeah.
I love hanging out in graveyards.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no.
spent last weekend at Pinaroo Cemetery for a while.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. I love them, especially the old ones.
I have during the day, actually. I've been to Fremantle Cemetery.
Okay, well that's awesome.
Yeah. And the one in that expensive area near Cottesloe. No, not near Cottesloe. Near Claremont. I have been in that one as well, actually.
Caracatta.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our biggest, really.
So I lie. I have been in a graveyard.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure it's called East Rockingham, or it's in East Rockingham. I think it's called the Pioneer Cemetery. So burials don't happen there anymore except by exception. So, for example, I do know of a burial that happened there not that long ago, and it's because there was an agreement that that person was put with a family member that was already there, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But you can't just go and get buried there now.
Yeah.
But at the very front, there's like more the pioneers of the area, and also some gentlemen that were killed in World War II as well. And they're all within a few days of each other. Yeah, quite at the front. But the weirdest shit happened there in that I'd only been there like half an hour or so, and I was with somebody else as well. And we noticed in the distance down like the back border near the train line there, a dark, shadowy figure. And there's actually like one of those secure toilet facilities, you know, where you press the button and you lock yourself in and stuff. And it's like right dead center, that toilet area at the back. And we saw this dark, shadowy figure. And we're actually moving kind of south through the middle of the cemetery. And we're walking along together, and it's like really dark, and there's a bit of an electrical storm going on. And we could just see this black shape, like that was human shaped, walking like in the same direction as us. And then I'm like, let's stop a minute. So we stopped, and they stopped. And we're like, what the fuck? And I'm dragging my fucking hard case with all my gear, and the wheels are making a bit of a noise on the pavers. And so we're like, let's keep going. So we kept walking, and they started walking. Then we stopped, and they stopped. And this went on until we got to almost the far end.
And how far away was the...
I reckon 100 metres.
Okay, so it couldn't have been a shadow of yourselves.
No, it definitely wasn't a shadow of us. And the moon, there was moonlight, but it was a stormy night, so the clouds were quite heavy and passing over it quite a lot.
But even 100 metres away, it can't be a reflection of something of your own. It's
No,
too
it
far
wasn't.
away,
It definitely wasn't us. There was definitely something there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we sort of went all the way to the end, and we agreed. We thought it was more likely to be a person, but we're like, why the fuck is this person in here at night? But then we were as well, right?
Yeah.
And then why were they tracking us was more the concern.
Yeah.
You know,
Like, why are they doing exactly what we're doing kind of thing?
Yeah. And the person I was with is a friend, female friend, and she was a bit freaked out for more than one reason. And I just made the call, look, I think it's best we just kind of abort the plan tonight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we just left. And I actually did a post on it on my Facebook page. It's like, it's more the living that I fear, going to places like that at night, than any spirit that I might encounter or communicate with. You know, you just don't know, do you?
Yeah. People are fucking fucked.
It's fucking psychos out there, you know? I've been out to Clackline Refractory. Have you heard of that?
No.
So Clackline is on the way out to Northam area. And do you know what a refractory is?
No.
Because I didn't either, right? So a refractory is where they made what they call fire brick.
Okay.
So basically in the very early 1900s, I think it was 1901, there were two gentlemen in the area looking for gold. They didn't find gold, but they found this like really high quality clay that was perfect for making fire brick. So fire brick are like bricks that can withstand very high temperatures.
Yep.
So you can make kilns out of them and that type of thing. And they also used to make vestibles. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's like a cup, basically, that they used to pour the molten gold into.
Okay,
Yep.
Yeah.
To pour it.
Yes, I do know that now, yeah.
So it can resist that high heat.
Yeah.
And there's actually still remains of vestibles hanging around the kilns there, which is cool as. But anyway, it's a very large property. The public can access it. And there's some kind of smaller buildings, the old factory areas. The kilns are still there. And you can even see where they're mining the high quality clay. And there's still clay just sitting there. Anyway, this place is like creepy as fuck. It is super dark. And it's been graffitied and vandalized quite a bit. So it sort of adds to the whole vibe of the place.
Yeah.
But I was out there with two other people doing an investigation. We were out there for a long time. Like we got there at 7 p.m. I think we left at maybe 4 or 5 in the morning. But at 2 a.m., we were just doing our thing, reaching out. And we heard like a car door close. And then we saw a flashlight. I'm like, oh, fuck. And then they were coming towards us. There was actually 3 light headlamps. And we're like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck. And we were always worried about this location of who would run into there. Anyway, I sort of got on the front foot and I just yelled out, what the fuck are you doing out here? Like that.
Yeah.
And they yelled back, what the fuck are you doing out here? And we're like, straight away we knew we were good, right?
Yeah.
These 3 guys came. They were just exploring. They're from Armidale or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Just doing the same thing you were doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
they're not trying to be sneaky. So.
one armed himself with this big piece of timber. And I go, what do you got that for? He goes, we didn't know who we were going to encounter out here. So you can pretty much drop that now. So yeah, my point is places I go with people, it's more the living, honestly, that I'm sort of cautious about than anything else.
Yeah.
You just don't know who's going to be there.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
You don't.
yeah,
And that can lead to all sorts of
Yeah.
shady situations.
I kind of would like to live out my years, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't want to get stabbed by someone.
There's some dickhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to this little thingy because it hasn't
the
made
K2. Yep.
not a fucking peep since it's been on camera.
True.
So what that usually goes off when it's something interferes with its field, correct?
Yes.
Its electromagnetic field, which could be anything that goes in that zone.
Yes. And in the immediate zone.
In the immediate zone of it. Okay, yeah. Interesting.
So powered devices are mostly the things that will like trigger it.
Yeah.
In close proximity. So
Yeah.
I've been in the kitchen of a bakery, for example, and they've got lots of fridges and mixers and freezers and all microwaves, all sorts of stuff. And just the EMF in there is just huge.
Yeah.
It's just whatever
so
you
much
put
going
it
on.
near or on, just lights up like a Christmas tree, you know?
There's nothing on the other side as well that's going to set it off.
I was going to ask you
There's
that.
There's a toilet.
So there is a PowerPoint down here.
There's a PowerPoint down here as well.
Okay. So, but you and I know.
PowerPoint's directly on the other end of the room there.
Yeah.
But all that shit's off. So there's nothing there, and it's just the lights and the cameras.
Yeah.
And then there's, toilet. And then there's a sink somewhere that way.
Where's the toilet?
Probably here. Probably like in the centre there, I think. Maybe a little bit further that way, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe towards you. Maybe the sink's somewhere here.
I mean,
That's
I'll
just
just
what
grab this for a second, right? And we can just like, because if I am tracing like an electrical run in the wall, sometimes you'll pick that up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we know there's a power point here, like, and the run would be straight up,
Yeah.
chased through the wall, right?
Yep, that's straight up.
But this is off completely, and there's nothing plugged in.
Yeah.
I'm not getting anything, and just to prove,
Still nothing.
like behind the model, nothing
Let
at
me
all.
test down here. Let me see
Yeah.
if this PowerPoint goes a thing. Nah, nothing from this PowerPoint.
No.
This other stuff down here. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's not in close proximity to anything. We've tested the sound deck and stuff. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder. The worst part is off camera. I didn't. It might actually be on the camera still on one of
Okay.
them, but it won't. I'll have to probably edit it into the pod if I do.
That'd be cool.
But it hasn't gone off knowing that we know it's on camera now.
Yeah, and we've had exactly. Yeah, isn't that interesting too? So
To me, that's fucking weird.
yeah, I experience that kind of stuff too sometimes.
Yeah.
So have you heard of orbs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
do you want to talk about orbs?
Yeah, go for it.
Because
Yeah,
I find this subject interesting in that what people kind of report or claim as orbs are quite often,
like a reflection,
particles.
dust particles. Yeah.
yep, or lens flare is another big one. So
Yeah.
I come from a photographic background, so I understand camera sensors, lenses, refraction of light, all that sort of stuff. So the most common orbs that get reported during the daylight are basically green little orbs in the picture. And they're green because the lens coatings that are used on lenses, be it an SLR camera or your phone camera, are typically green or in some cases purple. So you'll get that color cast, and it's very easy to debunk, let's say. And then, the light source direction that's creating it and all that sort of stuff, pretty easy. A lot of people have CCTV systems in or around their homes, and a lot of them also have the infrared capability, seeing at night. And so dust particles or even insects can appear to be something that is orb-like.
Yeah.
So they're quite easy to debunk. I've been sent video of things that I can't really say is like a dust particle or an insect, and you kind of go, no, that just based on movement and kind of the shape and form of it, you kind of have to think that does look like something that someone might describe as an orb. Yep. So I've never been a real big believer in orbs, but I've heard a lot of amazing personal accounts, and I'm like, cool, just take that on board. But I had an experience where I saw one with the naked eye at a location I was investigating, and the shitty part about it was I was actually behind my SLR camera, getting ready to record, sort of faffing around with the tripod, hadn't hit record yet, and clear as day I saw this golden ball of light, it was actually again in a jail cell, and it sort of moved and disappeared fairly quickly. It sort of just like dissipated and gone. And I was like in total shock. And I stopped and I sort of took in my surroundings. It's totally light proof, this particular cell. Has a solid wooden door, and it even has a black curtain across as well. So there was no external light source whatsoever.
There was no way there was light coming in yet.
None whatsoever. And it was quite bright. It didn't like illuminate the area, but it was quite bright to look at, particularly being in such a dark, enclosed location as well. I've never seen anything like it since, but it's still imprinted in my mind what I saw.
Yeah.
And I know I kind of went white. Like I've kind of, when you feel like the blood drains out of your face?
Yeah.
I kind of felt like that, and I was a bit taken aback.
The one time I had that, I was in Black Diamond in Collie.
Oh, yeah?
Which is like a camping site. And we weren't having a great experience. There was this fucking dude who was living out there.
Okay.
I thought he was going to kidnap one of our kids at one point. It was fucked.
Wow.
And I was walking in the dark.
Okay.
Which wasn't great. And I've never had this before. I had to stop dead in my tracks.
Yep.
I thought there was someone in front of me.
Okay.
Completely couldn't see anyone.
Yep.
But just felt there was someone that just like stood in front of me and went,
wow.
and I just went, fuck. And then I was like, I'm not going any further.
Yeah.
I'm going back to camp. Fuck this.
Yep.
But I do wonder if it was just my paranoia of dealing with this like dude that was not great out there.
Could have been. Yeah.
But I felt like I was like, there's something here in front of me.
Yeah.
That stopped me from moving.
Yeah, when I experience stuff like that or the orb thing, I really like take time out and go, hang on a minute, let's process this. Like, let's think about what was happening leading up to it. What possibly could it be that's totally explainable? Like, I will just take that time to do it.
Yeah.
And to this day, I cannot explain it. I've been back there more than once and sort of had a good look around and like just tried to debunk it, Yeah. Because I do that. The first thing I do is try and debunk.
Well, that's kind of like my go-to. If something weird happens, I'm like, what is that? Why is it happening?
Yeah, you have to look for the logical reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only until you exhaust all possible that you can even consider something else. And even then, it doesn't mean you've truly exhausted all the things that it could be logically as well.
Yeah. I just add it to the unexplainable things that I've witnessed in my life.
Yeah.
Which I find there's quite a lot.
Yeah, and that's what keeps me going back and doing this. It's because I want to experience more of that.
Yeah.
And try and find out more. Yeah.
And find what it is. Do you ever think that there's a possibility that you could be fooling yourself?
100%.
Yep.
Yep. The thought has crossed my mind so many times. Yeah. Because I see myself as a reasonably intelligent person. Like, I've got my shit together for the most part. And I can string a sentence together and all those types of things. But then sometimes I go, fuck, dude, are you just like completely off with the fairies here? Like I have had those thoughts. It's not that I necessarily believe it, but I think it's only right to question yourself that way as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had those thoughts more than once.
Do you ever think like, because you're smart enough to kind of go like, I can explain it out.
Yeah.
That maybe you're doing that in reverse to explain it in.
Yeah. I have. Yeah. I definitely have those thought processes.
Yeah.
And it's like, some people that might watch this and they see the K2 meter going off, they'll definitely offer up like super logical explanations as to why.
I'm annoyed it hasn't gone off now.
I know it's
Because
been
it's
dead.
just going to sound like I was talking shit. And
Yeah,
I can't believe it hasn't made a fucking movement since we moved it.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think we would pick that up at all in the video?
We might. I just don't
Yeah.
know where I've got the.
Yeah.
I think that
You'll
might.
know later.
Let me have a look, actually.
I'll put my hand here. Can you see my hand?
Oh, your hand is just out. It might just be in. It might.
Oh,
just
yeah, I see. Yeah.
Give me a second. See if it's on this side. It's like I've just cut it out.
Really?
On all shots, if I look to it.
Weird.
Unintentionally, I just put us in the center. Fucking
Yeah, well,
weird.
you've set up the cameras correctly, let's be honest.
Yeah, I've set them up for the podcast, not for this. I just didn't even consider
We
that.
weren't doing an investigation tonight.
No.
It's kind of turned into a little pseudo one. Yeah.
Well, I honestly expected nothing.
You know what I'd be doing now? Like, I'd be putting it back to where it was.
Yeah.
Because this has been really quiet in the sword there. So put it back, see if it goes off again.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I thought it went off.
Oh, yeah.
Had that thing there. All right, let's go.
I thought it.
You might not be able to see it on camera, but you know what?
We're not bullshitting.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Not bullshitting.
I want to see if this thing goes off again while we talk off camera.
Yeah.
Just to see if something's fucking with me.
Yeah.
Is there? This is probably the odd part of it.
Yep.
What do you think about magic?
What type of magic?
Any? Like, is there any part of you that's like, it's all completely bullshit, or is there parts where you're like, there might be witches doing some kind of magic? Is there like what
Okay, so
area of any that have you got any kind of like
I
opinion?
thought you might have been like going down that path of like witchcraft, let's call it.
Yeah,
So
that's included in it in my eyes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I've never ever been curious about witchcraft until more seriously doing this, like paranormal investigating, and it's mostly because of some of the interaction I've had with various people. So I can say that I personally now know people that call themselves white witches at least.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. So I guess the way that they describe or differentiate between a white witch and a black
Good
witch
magic and
is
bad magic.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, right? So, but I guess many years ago when witches were treated very poorly, they were probably white witches as well, but it was just considered magic and therefore it's evil. And therefore they burned them at the stake and tied weights to them and chucked them in the river and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. So I guess it all comes back to spirituality.
Yeah.
Yep. And having beliefs in like spiritual dimension, I guess. And so I've definitely become more open-minded to that. And I find it actually really interesting. Like I'd actually, when I have time, I'd probably like to sort of delve a bit deeper into, let's call it witchcraft, not to like practice myself, but just to understand kind of the beliefs and how things work in their world. So yeah, in a nutshell, yeah, I do believe in magic as such, not as in a David Copperfield kind of magic. Yeah, right.
Well, that's illusions.
Illusionists, yeah, that sort of stuff. Yeah, sawing people in half. No, like that actually, there's something about that I just hate actually.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like watching magic shows or tricks or anything like that.
I'm very interested in magic shows.
Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
Just because I want to know how I'm getting tricked.
Yeah, the curiosity of how they've done it.
Yeah.
Like
we've fooled you, sucked in.
Oh yeah, like I appreciate the craft of it. Like they're extremely clever, and it's like, wow, that's cool. But yeah, it feels kind of phony to me.
It is. That's the whole point.
I know that I've just said the complete fucking obvious there, but there's something about phony in anything that I just fucking detest. Like I just don't enjoy it. I guess it's like the clown thing. Like, I don't get it. Like I don't understand how that's at all entertaining.
Yeah. I find you're getting the better of me. If you're like doing a magic trick and I can't pick it, like you're getting the better of me, how the fuck have you done it?
Yeah.
Like it's like I'm trying to understand the foolery that I'm going through and how I'm being defeated mentally in this small exchange of minds, I guess.
Yeah.
so-
It is super clever. Like, I have an appreciation for it, but I don't
Don't want it, yeah.
I don't enjoy it. Yeah. When I think magic, I definitely think more like witchcraft kind of type of magic. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you said you know a few white witches now. You've met a few in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really respect them for what they do believe in. I think there's also a lot of people, men and women actually, that claim to be witches, but they're not actually, and they don't practice in any sense of like traditional witchcraft at all.
Yeah.
It's just like a cool thing to be
Just to claim.
calling yourself or claiming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I like the idea of casting spells, like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And doing something to change an outcome of something else, that type of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Like, I was having issues with a certain person at one time, and one of my witch friends made a suggestion on what to do. And they said, write their name on a bit of paper and their date of birth, if you know it, put it in a little cup of water, seal it up, and put it in your freezer. And sort of, gave me some words to say about, I'm putting you out to the cold, you can't bother me anymore, these sorts of things. And I've never done it, but I kind of probably will one day just to see what happens, So, and there's other little rituals that I've been told about, and I've actually been involved in a little ritual as well, which was to basically kick a nasty habit, but didn't actually work. But
Didn't work enough.
No.
You didn't believe it enough?
Yeah, probably. And I wasn't really in the right zone at the time as well. Yeah. It didn't go terribly smooth, put it that way.
Okay.
At the time, so I kind of attribute it to that maybe.
Yeah.
Plus some lack of willpower on my part too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose if you're expecting a spell to work, the willpower isn't necessary, right?
No, that's right. But it also, I think you have to truly believe in it to kind of force the outcome, I guess.
Yeah.
I always say, positive attitude creates positive results.
Yes, always.
Going into something, I tell my kids that as well. But it's a similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you come across anyone that you think might be bad in the way of magic? They might be like, yeah, I'm a white witch, but realistically, you might be like, fuck, there might be some evil behind you.
Can't say I have.
Yeah.
But then they could just be very good
Yes.
at hiding that fact, right? So, I mean, you and I, we may have been, let's say, the target or victims of something like that, and we don't truly know, right? Unless we were told, I did that too, and that's why that happened to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, not really. No.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't associate with those sort of people, I guess. Yeah.
Well, not that I know of. I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't come across any. I do know a friend who researches occult stuff very deeply.
Occult?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is the same thing. It's just ritualistic magic.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And he just researches all the kind of different sects of what they've done and what were they doing, how they're doing it, why is it, and just wondering is becoming a wizard actually a thing?
Yeah.
Which is. There's been many cultures through the past that have done it.
Yep. I think one culture I've really been fascinated about is the Freemasons.
Yeah.
And similar type of groups as well.
Yes.
Because there is this perception of them. The secret society, the secret handshake, as far as, slaughtering virgins and, all this sort of thing. Yeah, I think it's like an early men's club, to be honest.
No. I've been given a lot of information in different ways for Freemasons.
Okay.
I think there's definitely a level of it that is just an early age of a men's club.
Yeah.
And it is just like a bikie club in a way.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, we're brothers, we fucking help each other out and all this shit.
Yeah.
Or any kind of social club.
Yeah.
They're just very specific in their way of getting through levels. But then there is how old it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so how ritualistic things were back then.
Yeah.
So how much is carried forward and how certain things have been linked to it.
That's right.
Yeah. But
and
there's ones
wearing robes and having a hierarchy, and it's a closed door society.
Yeah.
It kind of conjures these thoughts in your mind of what is really going on behind those doors.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think that's just keeping to the traditions of the old time with them things.
Hmm.
It's ones that stay very secret.
Yep.
So like, do you know who Aleister Crowley is?
Yes.
Yeah, so he was in the Medic Order of the Golden Dawn, or the Golden Dawn is what most people know it as.
Yep.
Still exists to this day.
Yep.
Like you can join the Golden Dawn and try to become a wizard,
Yep.
which is quite interesting.
Have you ever attempted?
I've thought about it, but it's too much work.
Yeah.
I've got a friend who's like, I might do it,
Okay.
but he's like, but they pretty much tell you it's like having an apprenticeship.
Yeah. Right.
To like get through each level of what you have to do. Like you genuinely have to study. They're like, it's like going to uni.
Wow.
For your first 3 years, you'll be studying as much as going to uni. And you're like, fuck, man, definitely do not have the time. I'm not that committed to doing this.
Yeah.
Especially if it's just like I'm curious.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think, but I guess that's the way it works, right?
Yep.
If you are committed, you're going to get in and you're going to find out if it is real or not. And if you're not that committed, that you're going to weasel out of it and not do it.
Yep.
So I kind of, fucking too hard basket. And my friend who's into looking into that stuff was like, too hard basket.
Would you have to grow the very long white beard as well?
I don't know.
Because that would be part of the look, surely.
Well, I think from what I can see, it's not at all. It's very hidden.
Yeah.
It's very much like, I just don't know anyone that's in, so I can answer this question. So if you're listening and you know someone who's secretly in some kind of one of these clubs and they want to come on the pod, which they won't.
Because it's a secret, and then the secret will be out.
Yeah, and sometimes even the ones, there's one a guy I was looking at recently who became a 33-degree Mason and he started doing videos on it. It's hard to believe them.
Yeah.
They're like, I was a Freemason in this degree for so long. You're like, were you, bud?
Yeah.
Or is this just your way of making fucking channels to be cool?
Yeah. So, do you know of I guess it's Goldfields. Yeah, it is Goldfields. A town called Kew. Yep. So, mining town.
Yep.
Gold.
I've been through there very briefly.
Okay. Have you ever seen the Masonic Lodge in Kew?
No.
I'll send you a picture later. I have a really awesome photo I grabbed of it. And I've always wanted to investigate it because from the outside, you kind of look at it and go, man, that is a creepy looking building. And I've actually seen some footage taken inside it. I think an ABC reporter went through it and sort of showed the remains of it. And I actually did a post on my Facebook page with the image. And the amount of people that came out of the woodwork saying, oh, my dad was a Freemason there. And
really?
Yes, it was really interesting. Or, my uncle and it was just the different stories that came out of it. Yeah. One lady, I remember a comment, she said, our house, the kitchen window or something like that, faced it. We used to see weird things happening there. And so it just makes me super curious. Yeah.
I guess this is going to be like my last kind of question for the pod.
Yeah.
We'll dig into it as far as it goes.
Yeah.
What do you think when it comes to how ancient buildings are built? So stuff like churches, stuff like mosques and all those, the way that architecture is built. I start saying some God stuff and now it's...
I know, it started, the K2 is going, guys, K2.
It didn't go to red, Bart.
No, a couple of flickers.
It fucking went, Bart.
It did. And
now
it didn't go at all in the sword there, so yeah.
Fucking...
Sorry.
Weird. No, that's...
To interrupt.
It was a good point to point it out. I did say it and just ignored it. Do you think there is anything in the way that they build churches and that have like a connection to spiritual worlds? Do you think like the obviously with ghosts they're trying to pick up some kind of frequency, like it's either touch the electromagnetic field, your FM, AM kind of like a noise that we can't hear, lights of movement we don't see. Do you think there's something inside the way that churches and them older buildings are built that to conjure, say, demons or gods or ghosts or anything like that?
So flat out no.
No? Okay.
No, I honestly just think it's the architecture
cool
of the day. Yeah, and I guess when you think about a church and religion, it's linked very strongly to power, right?
Yeah.
So I think to build a very ornate, beautiful structure that is accommodating to those that follow the faith is probably more the intent in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as far as the various adornments, it's stained glass depicting scenes of Christ, crucifixes, whatever it might be. It just all ties into the story of that particular religion.
Yeah.
Just like a mosque is as well, if you look at the style of the architecture and, the lavish amounts of gold and those types of things. So, I'm not saying that they're not designed and built with that in mind, but it's never anything I've considered. I just don't think it is. Yeah. It's more a statement of grandeur. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes across all religions, right? So, I mean, look at the Vatican City, for example. That's to the extreme, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then
wild place.
I saw this temple in Bangkok earlier this year, which is just unbelievable.
What was the temple?
I don't know the Thai name for it. It's the most famous temple in Thailand, actually.
Is it Ayutthaya?
It might be.
Is it about an hour out of Bangkok?
No, it's like quite close to the centre of Bangkok along the river.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't go there.
Have you been to Bangkok?
I've been to Bangkok. I didn't go to that. I kind of didn't go to the river.
Yeah.
Fucking Bangkok is too big.
Yeah, it's huge.
But I did go to Ayutthaya, which is like out.
Okay.
And the only reason I know about it was there's like 7 temples within like a pretty close distance, and they've built a town around now. It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
But it was in the original Mortal Kombat movie, so I wanted to go there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know there's another building there that was... I think they use a few buildings in Bangkok for movies.
Oh, there's heaps.
Yeah, because the tour guide
so many.
pointed out some.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's cool.
But there's also, I went to a place called the Sanctuary of Truth.
Okay.
And the Erewhon Museum, which is like built by the same guy. But they're just these insane buildings that, they're not religious buildings, but they're just insane. But they do have like, the Erewhon Museum has got all different religious things built inside it.
Okay.
But it's symmetrical, but they're not symmetrical when you look at it closely.
Right. Okay.
And it's got that like 3-headed elephant on the very top of it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Crazy fucking buildings.
Yeah, I mean, back to your question, I think about things like Stonehenge, right? Like I absolutely feel there was purpose and thought put into the design of that for whatever it might have been. I mean, there's lots of theories on that, right? But yeah, churches, I just think that it's just beautiful architecture, basically, to send a statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, to show power
Yeah.
and dominance. Yeah.
Sweet. Actually, I've got one more question.
Yeah, go for it.
When it comes to if someone thinks they're being haunted, if they think there's something weird going on, what should they do?
I might use an example to answer.
Okay.
So I had a message, it's going back a while now, maybe 8 or 9 months, from a Perth resident. I won't say exactly where. And it was from someone who believed they had a negative entity in their rental property where they were, and they lived there with their partner, and I think there was some small children there as well. And they started messaging, and it sounded like quite extreme as far as the case, right? And the male of the household, he was the only one experiencing like things happening to him, hearing voices, all sorts of stuff.
Oh, okay.
And the partner, nothing. But she was like really concerned.
Yeah.
So I offered to go around basically. And then things got a bit sketchy as far as the arrangement for me to visit. And I thought, this doesn't sound extremely safe,
Safe in the way of spiritual or like the people?
No, as in the people, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up...
Oh, it's gone again.
It is. Quite
Gone red
strong.
too.
And as we're talking about this sort of thing...
Fucking...
Oh.
Why don't you go off when you're in there,
Yeah,
eh? That's
strange.
weird.
Yeah.
Everyone on camera, that thing is going off. Okay. Odd.
I started to ask questions which were quite personal, but they were relevant. And I asked, is there any drug use happening?
Yeah.
Yep. And it was claimed there wasn't, but there had been in the past.
Yeah.
And then you think, I have some knowledge of this sort of thing. So like psychosis and schizophrenia,
Yeah.
which can be triggered by drug use, you know, that type of stuff. And there was a bit of offence taken at the time.
Yeah.
But in the end, this went on for days. Actually called a father of a church nearby, and he ended up visiting. and he like blessed the home, and he contacted me and thanked me, and it was all cool. But he ended up admitting himself to hospital for basically a mental assessment, which was a suggestion I made.
Yeah.
Based on everything I was hearing. I mean, I'm not a doctor of psychology or anything, but I said maybe there's something else going on there. Should get yourself checked out.
Yeah.
And then,
Or just be safe at least.
yeah, he discharged himself in the end, and then I became the absolute villain for even suggesting it, and that was the end of that kind of thing. So, and I just like stopped communication.
Yeah.
What was your original question?
Is what should someone do if they think they're being haunted?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, first thing is, don't be scared. You know, like, I know some people's reaction will be like that straight away, and that's mostly because of the influence of horror movies and Hollywood and that sort of stuff. But there's very little evidence to suggest that you can be harmed, you know, badly, other than being scared by something that might be haunting your location or you. Yeah, so, I mean, I had that attachment experience I told you about, but I still didn't fear for my life as such.
But it did have negative effects on you, realistically.
It did, but not life-threatening in any way.
Yeah.
And I did something about it in that case as an example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look for logical reasons or look for the logical answers about what it could be other than just thinking it's a haunting, I guess.
Yeah.
Quite often when I speak to people that say, oh, yeah, I lived in a haunted house growing up or whatever, 9 times out of 10, they were like, didn't bother us. Like, it was kind of cool, actually, and we always felt safe and never felt in danger. Used to say good morning to them every day. That, like, a lot of people are actually like that. They're actually quite accepting in that way. But, yeah, if you really want to do something yourself about it, you know, I would suggest like a sage kind of burning in the home, cleanse the house. If that doesn't work, you could call in someone of a higher power and maybe do something, you know, like a blessing of the home or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't believe in religion, but if that's what helps people get through it and there is an effect of it, you know, then go for it, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to do, really.
Something to help you sleep at night, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like to actually do a cleansing because they feel a bit bad about moving the spirit on.
Yeah.
So like, well, it could have been their home once, so I'm happy to share it with them. They're not causing me any trouble. There's been a bit of that as well.
Yeah.
That I've come across.
Yeah, that makes sense. I kind of think that I had someone on the podcast and we joked about this entity that was with him.
Okay.
Because some chick he was seeing was like, oh, you've got something following. She's like, I'll get rid of it. And he's like, why?
Huh.
And he's like, what's it doing? She's like, oh, it's just doing jobs. And he's like, what jobs? Like, leave him alone.
Yeah. Wow.
He's cool. Like, I don't know he's not doing nothing. So like, why would we get rid of him? But that seems mean now.
Yeah. I mean, I do sort of believe we all have like spirit guides that are sort of in the background and sort of maybe come and go as required, you know, give you a bit of guidance somehow. I do believe in that. And it's mostly because of an experience, if we've got time.
Yeah, we've got time.
Where I was having a bit of a rough time and I escaped on a few-day camping trip just to sort of pull myself out of the situation. And I actually went up to Gilderton to Moore River Caravan Park. And I was staying there, sleeping in my vehicle that was set up for camping in as well. And second morning I was there, I couldn't be asked making breakfast, so I just went to the restaurant where the caravan park office is, and I sat down, and this older lady came to the table who was working there to take my order, and she said, I don't normally do this with customers, and I hope you don't mind me talking to you about this, but I just want you to know I can see someone that is with you right now that is like looking after you. I'm like, cool, tell me more. So, you know, being open-minded. And she described perfectly to me my nana, who had passed, my mum's mum, actually. And she described what she looked like, the feelings that she had for me, the type of person she was, kind of where she was from in the world, all sorts of stuff. And then she had some messages that she asked, do you want to hear these messages? I went, sure. And she told me things about basically what to expect in the future. And I wrote all of this stuff down and all of it came exactly to the T true.
Jeez.
Yeah. And weirdly, I've more recently been told by someone else that's a psychic, empath, sensitive, whatever you want to call them. I've had a similar experience where they've described my nana perfectly as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a huge comfort to me.
Yeah.
Whether it's real or not, I don't know, but I'm okay to believe it, and yeah, feel like I'm being somehow looked after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got that spirit guide there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think we all probably have those.
Yeah. Sweet. I think it's a good place to wrap it up.
Cool. Thank you so much.
No problems at all. Anything you want to promo apart from your Facebook page, your YouTube channel for Naked Ghost Hunter?
Yeah, the Naked Ghost Hunter. So I'm pretty active on Facebook, and I do have some new content coming to my YouTube channel shortly as well.
Yeah.
Been a bit slack on the editing front, like life and work gets in the way a little bit, but definitely ramping that up this year. So yeah, please get on, follow. Be really good. Yeah.
Check it out. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.